comical, is telling his caucus to hurry back for a Wednesday vote, but he's telling them to leave today. Now, why would that be? Well, because these nitwits have caused all kind of delays and cancellations, including some 6,000, more than 6,000 delays today alone. But the bill is expected to be ratified in the House after it goes through this procedural deal with the Senate, and we'll unpack that in just a second. Dr. Jeet Singh is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, and Cathy Abernathy will be here at 4 o'clock. There's some local miscellaneous news and notes to get to. The killers of Genesis Mata, allegedly, have a court date set, and Maya Hernandez, the woman who left her son in a car in 101-degree heat, was in court as well. And a couple of major Supreme Court decisions are about to come down. One already has, well, it hasn't really been a decision. They just dismissed an appeal by the Kentucky County Clerk who refused to provide marriage licenses for gay people in 2015. She was ordered to repay that. She appealed it, and the Supreme Court wouldn't even hear it, as political profit explained that they would not. There was no way they were going to unravel gay marriage at this point. There has been a evolution in this country where at one point a majority of Americans were against gay marriage. I'm talking about 2000, pretty deep into the 21st century. Because remember, 2008, when Hillary was fighting Barack Obama for the Democrat nomination, they both were against gay marriage, both of them. Now, nobody believes that, but that was the political wins in 2008. Then, with some approval ratings above 50 in 2012, all of a sudden, Barack Obama had a moral epiphany, apparently, and his religious and moral beliefs changed, and he was all in favor of gay marriage, as he always was. But the political winds changed, and now, in 2025, 70% of Americans support gay marriage or just backed off their homophobic viewpoint, which I have never, ever, ever, ever understood. It's not catching. It's not communicable. What you give a damn about what somebody else is doing in their bedroom, whether they be heterosexual or homosexual, I've never understood. I really haven't. And now gay men and gay women are having children. And so the Supreme Court didn't just completely dismiss her case, wouldn't even hear it. But the interesting case, and we'll probably talk about this with Cathy, the interesting case that they're going to examine is mail-in balloting. We may be able to get rid of this nonsense and maybe even get to a point where, I don't know, we all vote on the same day. That would be rather difficult because of states' rights and the ability for goofy ass Virginia to vote for like 2.5 weeks. I told you New York was voting for mayor a week before November 4th. So you can do whatever the hell you want. But I don't know. Maybe there's some hope that we can change that. We can all vote on one day. And there's some sports news. The New York Giants are looking for a head coach. And Dylan Gabriel, believe it or not, is still the #1 quarterback in Cleveland.
No idea how.
I don't either.
You lost to a quarterback that didn't throw over 60 yards.
And who played for the Jets.
Yeah.
The Jets. Yeah, Shedeur DeSantis is never going to play for Cleveland.
The rumor
they're going
is
to trade him.
They're saving him for the last 4 games of the season, but I don't get that. I'm like, why not just throw him out now, and then you know if he's the guy or not in the last 4 games, then you decide what you're going to do.
They want him to fail.
I think so too.
If you ask me, because it would be a complete embarrassment to the entire organization and their ability to assess talent if he goes out in those 4 games and has 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing, and changes that offense. Kevin Stefanski will be exposed for whatever issue he has with the boy. The rumor that I've heard out of Cleveland is he just doesn't like the kid, doesn't like his mannerisms, the way he goes about his work, his attitude, and I understand that. I can understand that. I know some people that work for companies where the company puts up with that person but really doesn't like them. I know guys like that. I've heard of that. I really have. But we got some other stuff we'll get to. Veterans Day is tomorrow. And I think we'll hear from Ricardo Ibarra, who we had on last week, tell you all about that. And Ghislaine Maxwell. Have you heard some of the perks this woman is getting? You know, she sat down with Todd Blanche. She was in a much tougher federal prison down in Florida. She met with Todd Blanche, the president's personal attorney, who he made second in command at the Department of Justice once he got elected. And they sat down for hours, he and Ghislaine Maxwell, and he walked out of there. And then within days, she came out and said, Trump had nothing to do with it. I never saw Trump involved. Trump is the greatest human being in the history of the world. And all of a sudden, she gets sent to a much less harsh facility in Texas. Now, apparently, she's getting perks like customized meals. She gets time with a support dog, and she gets escorted to the exercise area of the facility. This thing stinks to high heaven. And by the way, we're about to get into this discussion about the shutdown. One thing that's going to happen with this shutdown vote is Speaker Johnson is going to be forced to swear in Congresswoman Grijalva, I know I pronounced that wrong, out of Arizona, the woman that took over for her dad. And she won like 40 days ago, but they didn't want to swear her in because she's the deciding vote on the release of the Epstein files. I don't get this. I wish I had a theory on the Epstein files. I really wish I did, but I don't. I don't understand it. From everything that we've heard, Trump is not involved, and yet this is the greatest self-inflicted wound I've ever seen in my life. As we've talked about time and time and time and time again, it all began with, again, I'm sorry, this clown cabinet of his, Pam Bondi, the top cop, saying, oh yeah, the list is on my desk. And then the next day saying, what list? Huh? What are y'all talking about? And then bringing in influencers to DC and giving them a Bible of what was supposed to be this earth-shattering news, and they all read it. It was like, this is all stuff we know. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't know who they're protecting. Because you got to understand who Ghislaine Maxwell is. She, as far as I'm concerned, is worse than Epstein. Because this is a fellow woman who was rounding up fellow females for this pervert and alluring them and becoming friends with them and then feeding them to the dogs. She's just a disgusting, horrible human being who should be doing hard time, and she's getting customized meals. And it all happened post Todd Blanche meeting. Just saying. All right, let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. When we come back, we will tell you all about this deal that, check the board, Chris. I left the house a little bit earlier than the vote was expected. It was expected around 5 o'clock East Coast time, so it should have gone down already. And it appears that no one senator is going to try to block it because it's just a delay tactic. The vote will come up within 36 hours. And what makes legislators vote? What smell, Chris Burdick, makes legislators vote?
Money?
The smell of jet fuel.
Ah, true.
And they want to get out of there. They want to come back, and they want to go home for Veterans Day, and then they want to come back. And if they delay the day, that screws up the time schedule, and people are coming and going. So I don't see that one senator is going to stop this thing. I think they will pass it tonight. It'll hit the House floor on Wednesday, They can only lose 2 votes. We'll get into that. I don't know why I'm talking about this. So we'll talk about this when we come back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
I'm tired of waking up and hearing another case of the DUI. We just had the Madison Williams case where she was found guilty. We have another trial going on where a 6-year-old was killed. Now again, I'm hearing an 8-year-old is dead because of an alleged DUI. Something needs to be done to fix this.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Networks. You know, a lot of IT companies try to squeeze your unique business into their cookie cutter solutions. That's why we've teamed up with Adaptive Networks, because they know no two businesses are exactly alike, and your IT shouldn't be either. While other MSPs offer one-size-fits-all packages, Adaptive Networks takes the time to listen and understand your specific challenges, your industry requirements. They build custom technology solutions that actually fit your business, not the other way around. So whether you're a small company or a growing enterprise, Adaptive Networks adapts to you. Their customer-driven approach means you get exactly what you need. So don't settle for generic IT support. Call Adaptive Networks today and discover what truly customized technology solutions can do for your business. Adaptive Networks, because your business is unique and your IT should be as well. Visit adaptive-net.com or call 661-241-0638 today.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Gun safes on sale. TNT Liberty Safes Black Friday sale is happening now all month long. TNT has a large selection of home, office, commercial, and gun safes with hundreds of safes in stock and ready for installation. Keep your handguns, long guns, coins, jewelry, and other precious belongings safe. TNT also has many scratch and dents and closeouts in stock while supplies last. Go to TNTLibertySafe.com and check out TNT's Black Friday full lineup of American-made gun safes. Or stop by TNT showroom at 6201 Knudsen Drive, 2 doors north of Hodell's. TNT, saving lives one safe at a time.
It's a winter wonderland of sweets at DeWars. See the spectacular twinkling Christmas lights and enjoy festive decorations and hot chocolate from November 3rd through January 5th. Treat your family to handmade candies and holiday ice cream flavors. Write your letters to Santa starting November 29th, every Saturday and Sunday from 4 to 8 p.m. until Christmas. Snap photos and make memories that will melt your heart, just like our ice cream. DeWars, where Christmas fun, lights, and sweetness comes to life. Only at DeWars, 2700 Callaway Drive.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Calling out around the world. Are you ready for a
Before we go any further, I've got some sad news that I hate to have to report. It's with a heavy heart that we come in today after the loss of a really dear friend, part of a family that I've often talked about. There's just several groups of families that have just treated me like family. And the Leary family is one of those families. And we lost Gary Leary over the past weekend. He was 2 weeks short of his 55th wedding anniversary with Deborah Leary. And I know a large majority of you are familiar with the family and certainly familiar with a lot of the work that Deborah does with feeding the homeless and the annual barbecue that she has, and all the work that Gary and his two sons, Joe and Anthony, have done with the Icardo family, many of the events, Cal State and other barbecues and whatnot. And I've talked about the Liver family because they were really important to me at a certain period of my life after I lost my father. And they were aware that Father's Day was a really difficult day for me. And they invited me to their house one Father's Day. And I was like, that's a family thing. I'm not. And they were like, Deborah was like, you're coming, period, end of sentence. And it was one of the best Father's Day I ever had. We swam and ate and hung out with Joe and Anthony and Deborah and the whole family. And he's survived by those three and Joe's two children. And the only good thing that I could say is Gary was on Honor Flight 52. He's a veteran, and he was able to go back to Washington and be honored and feted everywhere he went. And I got to spend a little time with him back then. And most importantly, I got to spend some time at the airport with the entire family all together. And we all took a picture together. And I'm going to post that on Facebook this afternoon. But he'll be missed. He was a great man and was very, very kind to me. He really, really was. On a much brighter note, I'm just learning that Honor Flight has invited me to be a part of their parade tomorrow, on their float tomorrow. So the only non-veteran on the what do you call that? What am I on? I'm on the float. Yeah, the only non-veteran on the float will likely be me, the freckle-faced black guy waving. So say hi if you're out there tomorrow. I hope you will attend. And we'll hear from Ricardo Rivera just a little bit later, who was one of the organizers who we had on last week. In the meantime, the 8 Democrats that are now getting hell from their colleagues are the ones that put this thing over the top. And Democrats are livid, absolutely livid. I'm reading from the New York Times. The handful of Senate Democrats helping advance a funding bill Sunday night. The federal government appears on track to reopen later this week, though a few hurdles remain before the legislation passes both chambers of Congress, heads to the president's desk. 7 Senate Democrats and 1 Democratic-aligned independent, that is Angus King from Maine, ended the debate, which will fund the government until January 30th of 2026. Didn't we tell you that the continuing resolution they were supposed to sign expires in 2 weeks? So they rewrite another one that'll kick the can down the curb till the end of January. And the bipartisan deal fully funds the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, or food stamps, and benefits programs for veterans through September 30th of 2026. Congressional operations will also be fully funded. And Rand Paul might object, but that's only going to delay this thing. It's a 30-hour wait, and then there'll be a vote. They have the number of votes because these Democrats, please stand by. Cathy Cortez Masto from Nevada, who I got to meet when I was in Washington, D.C. Dick Durbin of Illinois. JF from Pennsylvania is John Fetterman. Kathy Hassan from New Hampshire. Tim Kaine of Virginia. Do you know who Tim Kaine is?
I know I've heard this name before.
Yes, you have.
Name escapes me.
Hillary's running mate in 2016.
That's right.
Rosen of Nevada and Gene Sheehan of New Hampshire all chimed in. And so this thing is going to go. It's going to get passed. And you know what the Republicans should do? They should sign this thing and then immediately pass the ACA tax credits. And here's why. Because whether you realize it or not, because logically, this is a Democratic shutdown, but polls indicate 52 to 42, the American public thinks that it's the Republicans' fault. So by signing this continuing resolution and then actually negotiating in good faith and passing the Obamacare subsidies, you can then go back as a Republican and say, see, we could have done this a month ago. And we negotiated. We're going to give you a 1-year extension. But then remind them that it was the Democratic Party that sunshined this bill. It wasn't Republicans that said it's going to run out in 2026. That was written in by Democrats. So highlight that, give them their 1 year, and then, as I've been saying since literally 2014, when Obamacare first went into effect with all the lies, your doctor you can keep, it won't change anything, then the party has to come up with a plan. They've got to come up with a plan that won't allow people making $500,000 to get past this. We spoke with David Valadao back in Washington, and he explained why Republicans are so against extending the ACA tax credits.
The reality is we're wasting valuable time here now, and holding the government hostage over something there is bipartisan support for in concept is not a good strategy. And Democrat leadership there in the Senate needs to pull it together, get the votes across, and then just get the commitment from Republicans in the White House and the House and Senate that we will work on this and get something across the line. But just a permanent extension that they're asking for, that just not appropriate. Not in a government shutdown, not in a hostage-taking situation. You can't reward bad behavior like that with policy that needs to be reformed.
He's absolutely right. You can't let them put a gun to your head and say, if you don't do this, we're going to shut down the government. And then the Republicans who are in power have to take credit for the shutdown. You can't set that precedent or it'll happen again and again and again. And guess what? Now that food stamps are permanent, or at least extended beyond the next year, they could literally shut down the government February 1st. They really could. We could be right back here right after the holidays. Quick time out. Our good friend and the finest cardiologist in the land, Dr. Jeet Singh, joins us after the break. Cathy Abernathy will be here at the top of the hour. And I got some other miscellaneous news and notes before we get out of here. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. I would stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Senate is drawing closer to a vote on legislation to end the government shutdown. Senators began debate on the bill just as nightfall descended in Washington. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says he hopes passage will take hours, not days. The legislation would still need to clear the House before the government could reopen. The bill would fund the government through the end of January and reverse mass firings of federal workers. It also protects federal workers against further layoffs through January and guarantees they are paid once the shutdown is over. A good day on Wall Street as the shutdown appears to be ending. The Dow up by 381 points. The Nasdaq rose 522, with the S&P 500 up by 103. This is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The two people accused of the torture, abuse, and eventual death of 8-year-old Genesis Mata at a motel on Riverside Drive several months ago are scheduled to go on trial for the crime. At a Monday hearing, a trial date of December 22nd was set for Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante, her father and stepmother. If you were victim to the power outage Friday night, you should know that PG&E is still looking into it, but they haven't made a public diagnosis yet. More than 5,000 people were without lights from around 7:45 to 10:45. The people who worked the food truck in the parking lot where 8-year-old Xavier Hernandez was hit and killed last Monday were at it this week with a donation drive to try and ease the family's financial burden. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. If you are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today at 661-554-4544. Let us help you understand your healthcare options for 2025. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Before you hit the road for the holidays, make sure your car is ready for the journey. Kern Oil Change keeps your engine running smooth and your family safe. No appointments needed. Just drive in and their fast, friendly team will get you back on the road in minutes. Don't wait till you're stuck on the side of the road.
You just grab a cookie.
Kern Oil Change today and travel
You
with
just grab a
confidence
cookie.
this holiday season. Kern Oil Change has
I
2
just noticed.
locations to serve you: 3706 Coffee Road and 5651 Auburn Street. Kern Oil Change is open 7 days a week. Follow us on Instagram for additional savings.
I'm jealous.
Stay right. First look with
I got a
Scott
blood
Cox,
test to
6 to
take.
9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we may well be.
I said I'm
talking about
jealous.
the
I got a
end of the
blood
government
test to
shutdown.
take.
We're going to talk water
Can't do
with
it.
the best in the business. That would be Lois Henry from sjvwater.org. And we'll have state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the World Wide Webs at kernradio.com.
First look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Patients today.
Okay, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough. All right.
And unfortunately, we'll be out of the country next week as well.
Okay. I bet he's going back to London. So you guys know that's where he's from. London, England. In the meantime, God, that's too bad, too. I wanted to talk about this new study that finds that daily coffee consumption may reduce the risk of atrial fibrillation by nearly 40%. And I drink just 1 cup 5 days a week. I don't drink coffee on the weekends, but I normally have a cup. I know there's no cream in there. And I do have a blood test. Is that right that I change my lifestyle before a blood test?
No, I feel like they tell you to do that at least a little bit, but I mean,
It's not accurate if I eat. Normally I would have had one of those cookies. That's why I asked you about it.
Right.
But I'm taking a blood test in 2 weeks, and I'd like my A1C to drop. Bad enough that I'm eating those grapes. I'm assuming there's less sugar in the grapes. There's probably more sugar in the grapes than there is in the damn one cookie.
that's a very good question.
I would have liked to if I was going to ask him that, if we had the opportunity to talk to him. But I have heard of late that coffee is good for you. I think anything is good for you as long as you don't abuse it. That's what it's really all about. Moderation. Do you need protein? But should you have 2 or 3 steaks a week? Probably not. Probably not. Speaking of Michael Jackson, just on a lark, since we have some time, I I don't even know if I should do this, but I have the the trailer.
Ah,
Remember I told you about Michael?
I
And then
saw
you
the trailer
told us
myself
that-
over the weekend.
You did? What'd you think?
I think it looks good. I
It
like
does
it.
look good. It really does. That's
I'm
why
very interested because apparently this is the acting debut of Jafar Jackson.
who is, as you told us Friday.
Jermaine's son.
Yeah.
So
It looks amazingly like him.
yeah, this is what I'm thinking too. But I mean, family genetics, they all, I mean,
Yeah. Although Michael, Tito and Jermaine kind of looked alike. Randy and Michael stood out. That's why he was the star, not only just because he could sing and dance, but he was like the pretty boy of the group.
true.
I just remember when I was 10, 11, living in Cerritos, every kid wanted to be Michael Jackson. Every single kid, black kid, wanted to be Michael Jackson. Here's a little bit of the trailer.
I know you've been waiting a long time for this. The tracks are made, the songs are ready. Let's take it from the top. This is your story. Honor your past and embrace the future. That's what people want.
Q, can you lower the lights for me, please?
Okay, but remember, in here, keep those feet still, my man.
That thing is going to be gargantuan. Antoine Fuqua is directing it. He's a very famous, I know y'all don't know, but he's a very famous African-American director who, did he do Black Lagoon, Black Knight, I can't, what was the name of the movie in Africa that I did? I'm the only black person that didn't like it.
Black Panther?
Yes.
No, he's not the one that did Black Panther.
No. What did he do?
He has done Training Day.
That's of course.
Equalizer.
Equalizer.
He's done a lot with
Denzel. Yeah, he and Denzel are very tight. But yeah, that looks really, really good. That looks really, really good. Anyway, as I mentioned, Veterans Day is tomorrow, and the parade starts at 10 a.m. And Honor Flight was kind enough to invite me to join them on their float tomorrow. Last week, we spoke to Chief Ricardo Ibarra, who talked about tomorrow's parade.
Well, during the parade, we have 111 entries.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
Last year we had 97. This year
Yeah.
we're up to 111.
That's
and
pretty
a lot
cool.
of new people joining us.
Yeah, who we got?
Well, of course, we have Dr. Congresswoman Jasmine Baines will be there, but you have all your normal veterans organizations that are there, the VFW, the American Legion. So we have quite a few people that are going to be there.
Yeah, it's a pretty big event, and get ready for some shutdowns downtown. You can go to KGT17's their website, and see where the closures are. I think it's from 10 to 2 p.m. Is that what he said? Wasn't paying attention to the bike, but this is a big deal. And I know, again, I think we were one of the most magnanimous communities, and we're one of the most dedicated communities to our veterans. And they are beloved, and hope you, if you have the day off, because we don't have the day off, but all federal buildings, the post office and banks and such will be closed. I'm pretty sure Cal State and DC are closed as well. And most schools, in fact, Randizzle was telling me his child is out today and tomorrow.
I believe so is Lily.
I
must be nice.
I'm telling you, at a time when we need kids in class more, we figure out more ways to give children and teachers days off. I really don't understand it. I really don't understand it. And then we scratch our heads as to how the Chinese are lapping the field on us because they're damn near in school year around. And education is first and foremost in their culture, as it is in the Sikh culture and the Indian culture and the Asian culture. It's just, it's so frustrating. It really, really is. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Anything on the board?
Yeah, I got a couple.
What do you got?
This first one just says, come on, Ralph, you know none of these government types are taking public airline transportation. They all have private jets.
I'm not so certain about that.
I don't know if all of them do.
Yeah, I don't think Mr. McCarthy ever flew private. I mean, they all fly first class. That's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I don't think. I bet Pelosi flies private. I mean, there are some multi-millionaires and billionaires, but I bet the lion's share of them fly commercial. Yeah, I mean, you're in a different stratosphere when you're flying. When you've got a private jet at your beck and call, you're worth, 10, 15, 20 million dollars. I don't think, and I don't think they'd want people to know that, but you're right. I bet there's a lot of senators. I bet there are at least 20, 25 senators are flying private. Some of the older cats that have been there forever. Like, who would I be thinking of? I bet Mitch McConnell flies back to Kentucky private. I bet Schumer flies back to New York privately. But yeah, I just found that funny, though. You don't find that funny that Hakeem Jeffries tells them that they should leave today because of the delays? Oh, you mean those delays you caused? Meantime, speaking of the devil, I forgot one bit of audio. Here's a compilation. Like, if you don't think that they were using this, you have lost your mind. Listen to this compilation that I found on Democrats talking about their position in terms of the shutdown.
We need to do this while we have the leverage. Of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer, but it is one of the few leverage times we have.
You reopen the government and we lose our leverage, there has to be an agreement right now. That's what this whole shutdown is about.
Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Frankly, this is our only moment of leverage.
You would give up all of your leverage and then hopefully get some sort of great deal coming down the pike is just a fool's errand.
Why are working families the leverage the Democrats need to get Obamacare fixed?
It's the only lever we have.
Democrats have this one little sliver right now when we've got some leverage here.
And that's why I think that as soon as the continuing resolution is signed, Republicans should start working on extending those tax credits because it makes them look stupid. That if you had signed the damn CR a month ago, we could have negotiated a decent bill and really sat down and come up with something decent. Because none of this makes sense in terms of their defense of this. They're saying they're holding out for 22 million Americans whose cost of health insurance is going to go up. But yet they were willing to put in jeopardy 42 million Americans who aren't going to eat. Food stamps went away. And now that is in stone within this bill that we'll get through the Senate, we'll get through the House, save some incredible desertion by somebody in the House. This thing is going to get done. And if the Republicans go along with this and give them the 1-year extension, they look like the idiots whose whole reasoning was Republicans would never negotiate in good faith. They would never separate the Obamacare extensions as a separate bill. And then you go ahead and do exactly that and make them look like idiots. Make them look like idiots. Meantime, Chuck Schumer is in big doo-doo. There's no way he runs in 28. No way in the world. No way in the world. People are talking about replacing him in his leadership. And Hakeem Jeffries may be in trouble as well in the House. But they're blaming Schumer for this desertion of the 5 Democrats that joined Fetterman and the lady from Nevada. I always forget her name. Mario Cortez or something like that. Mastro Cortez. Yeah, Cortez Masto, kind of backwards. They're blaming Schumer that you can't keep your caucus together. So his days are numbered. They really are. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, Cathy Abernathy will join us at the top of the hour. And I've got some court news we'll get to locally. And the Supreme Court has made one major decision on gay marriage, and now they are facing another huge decision that could impact us all on mail-in balloting. I think this is a gargantuan decision. We'll get to that. Talk a little sports at 5:30. What do the Giants do now? But it seemed to me they were just. Were you the one that predicted he was going to get whacked?
You know.
And I was the one that said, no, I think they got something going with this kid. God dang it. Don't tell me. Jackson Dart. Did he finish the game Sunday?
No, he got hurt.
I know he went out.
Another concussion.
So he's in concussion protocol right now?
4th one this year.
For him?
4th time he's been through the process this year, from what Adam Schefter said this morning.
Got to be a big guy to play in the NFL. You just do. You have to be a big person. You have to be a big human being. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. These guys are too big, too fast. And now you're stuck with Russell Wilson.
Craziest thing, though, of all of this,
God.
That GM that everybody gave grief to last year during Hard Knocks for saying that, we don't need Saquon Barkley, still has his job, and they're keeping him there.
But they got rid of Dable, who's a really good coach. Really good coach. I wouldn't mind firing Chip Kelly and bringing him out.
Honestly,
work for us.
Be a great player,
Really
great offense coordinator.
He really would be. He really would be. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. We'll check the board when we come back, see what you all are talking about. Our phone number, 842-5376, 842-KERN. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Very significant day in the country's history as we celebrate Veterans Day. We'll have a lot of different cool aspects of the show. We'll also continue to discuss the absolute latest as it pertains to the shutdown. All that and more. You won't want to miss it. It will be the Tuesday Veterans Day edition of Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at radiodirect.com/privacy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Text help for help. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing? You've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications that are all over the news, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. And if you qualify, you can get medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1s at 80 to 90% savings without insurance, all 100% online.
Wait, I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No long wait at the doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide and tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, for 80 to 90% less and shipped direct to your door.
Amazing. How do I get started?
Just send them a text.
Text SLIM to 797979 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less, 100% online. Don't wait. Text SLIM to 797979 right now for your exclusive offer. Text SLIM to 797979. That's SLIM to 797979.
These statements and products have not been evaluated or approved by the FDA for weight loss.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Norma Diaz, owner of La Rosa Fruit Bars and Ice Cream.
Hi, I'm Norma Diaz from La Rosa Fruit Bars and Ice Cream, and I'm a client and friend of Paul Sheldon. I've known Paul for many, many years, and my parents happened to be his first clients. So, of course, I called Paul and immediately felt this peace come over me, knowing that I didn't have to freak out about making a big decision. His knowledge about Medicare and your health insurance needs are beyond compare, and I was taken care of immediately by his wonderful staff. He knew everything that I needed and what I wouldn't need, so I was pretty much in and out of there in record time. If you're getting to that age or you're going to be needing to know about Medicare, then he's the one to call. He will totally help you out and get you pointed in the right direction. You're going to leave there feeling a great accomplishment and no concerns. And even if you have questions later, his staff can help you out. Those feelings are just priceless to me. So call Paul. You'll be glad you did.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
If you've been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, this is what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-526-7736 or visit tremfya.com.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Making my soul sing. Out the boy, you'll love this king. Mr. Zucchini was out of town this weekend, but I sent him a text message yesterday afternoon. Coming after you, boy. Coming after you. Shot an 85 yesterday. And I had 2 birdies. I actually had 1. One was just pure, stupid, dumb luck. I scolded a chip. Absolutely scolded it. And it went screaming, hit the pin, and fell in.
Oh, nice.
And
Hey, man, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
I had the audacity, though, to raise my club.
Okay, Tiger, calm down.
I went, damn! Stop! Stop! Yes!
The plan the whole time.
That's right. That's right. It's my new chipping method. And had 1 double bogey. I double bogeyed 4. And that was about it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I just can't make the Swain group, man. I just can't. That's 7th. Even they moved it back. They don't tee off till like 7:30. So technically, if I take a shower the night before, I could wake up at 7, be at the house by 7:10, and still make it. But I don't know. And I didn't do anything Saturday. I did something. I went out Friday, but I didn't do anything Saturday. I had a great time Friday, by the way. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. What do you got on board?
I want to ask so bad.
Don't.
Lisa's chimed in.
Lisa, the
Says, "Hey,
associate
guys."
producer and editor of the Ralph Bailey Show.
I will get ready for this one.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know if Ralph is messing with me or not, but today's the 10th, not the 12th.
Are you serious? I put the
You
12th.
put the 12th, apparently. I need to actually look, but I'll fix it for you at the end of the show.
But the only explanation I have is I have a bill to pay on the 12th. I've got to pay Quest Diagnostics on the 12th, and that was stuck in my head. I had just read that when I walked in here, and that's the only reason I can think, other than I'm old and decrepit and stupid. And at least I'm getting the month right, Lisa.
Are we, though, Lisa?
No, I know I put NOV.
Oh, okay.
I stopped putting the number.
All right,
I was putting November. And I did it in a hurry, too. But thank you, Lisa. Lisa's now looking. It's not I'm messing with you. She's now looking for things. She's searching. So I know he's going to screw up. Let me see if I can find. It's like doing a puzzle. Like, let me see if I can find the diagonal word. Screw up. What else you got?
Why do you refer to mail-in voting as nonsense? It has been proven for decades to be a safe way to cast a ballot. Many people have no other option. You have bought into Trump's silliness about voter fraud, even though all of the evidence says mail-in ballots are secure. Voting should be easy and open to as many people as possible. That's called democracy.
Well, you obviously don't listen very closely to the show because we'll hear from Cathy in just a matter of minutes. I'll let her tell her mail-in balloting story. We had another caller call in and say that what did they say, Chris? That the daughter got their mail-in ballot, but the mom and the dad
did not. And
Yeah.
I personally could tell you that I got about 3 or 4 mail-in ballots to my apartment, one of which was mine.
You see what I'm saying? It's screwy. That's why. It's screwy. It introduces the possibility of screw up. Why do we want to up the probability of something going wrong? Let's make it as simple. I'm not in favor of paper ballots because that's as simple as it gets, unless we just all hold our hands up. But that's almost ridiculous. But we've got to make this as simple as we can. And again, I think that we should all be voting on one day to vote weeks or maybe even months in advance. The way politics are in the 21st century, the way politics is, that's a collective noun, politics is in the 21st century, anything can happen. Anything can happen in an election. 72 hours. Look at the 16 election where James Comey drops a bomb, 10 days before the election that they're going to re-examine Hillary? That played a huge role in Trump's success. It really did, or her failure. So yes, there's just, I don't think that it's egregious, but I think there are issues. And when I hear people say that her mother, I think, what was Cathy's story, that her mother was still getting a ballot? Her mother's been passed away for years. Just, it's screwy. That's why. And we'll see what the Supreme Court says, because I think they're going to, I don't think they're going to abolish it, but I think they're going to limit it. It's a much more complicated case than you know. It's not just simply we're going to get rid of it or we're going to keep it, because everyone does it differently. Oh, this is Gooby. I'm trying to see if I can get my haircut tonight. Please stand by. I won't be in tonight. Damn. Be on that damn float with this little afro of mine and all these whiskers. I stopped shaving. I let Gooby do it because I cut up my face now with my little cheap Bic shaving deals.
I get yourself a
You don't? Do you shave?
I mean, I clean up, but the beard obviously keeps me from shaving the whole thing.
What do you have? One of those?
Yes and no. I do use that sometimes to trim when it gets long, but I usually stick to a Gillette, just one of the traditional 4 razors for the.
See, those things are expensive.
Yeah.
See, I'm not spending all that kind of money for these little cat hairs.
True. But again, I only have to pay maybe $20 every 2-3 months compared to what you would have to pay.
What do you mean? What happened?
Because you're saying they're expensive.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay them as often.
Cathy Abernathy is next.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Well, I don't shave that much. Why would I?
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Same-sex marriage remains legal in the United States.
The Supreme Court has rejected a call to overturn its landmark decision that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. The justices on Monday turned away an appeal from a former Kentucky court clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples after the Supreme Court's 2015 ruling. Clerk Kim Davis had been trying to get the justices to overturn a lower court order that she pay $360,000 in damages and attorney's fees. Justice Clarence Thomas has urged his colleagues to overturn the Supreme Court's marriage decision, much as they did in 2022 when the High Court overturned the right to abortion.
Correspondent Mike Pizzoli reporting. President Trump is threatening to sue the BBC over the way the network edited a speech he made. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
In a letter to Britain's public broadcaster, the president's lawyers said the BBC must retract its documentary by November 14th or face a lawsuit for no less than $1 billion. The network came under fire for cutting out a section of Donald Trump's speech on January 6, 2021, when he said he wanted supporters to demonstrate peacefully at the U.S. Capitol. Over the weekend, the head of the BBC and the news CEO both resigned, calling the edit an error of judgment. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The Senate is drawing closer to a vote on legislation to end the government shutdown. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says he hopes passage will take hours, not days. The legislation would still need to clear the House before the government could reopen. The bill would fund the government through the end of January and reverse mass firings of federal workers. On Wall Street, the Dow by 381 points, more at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
When and why you could see some much cooler weather. I'm Chris Davis. That is because of a cold front coming through toward the end of the week that is expected to bring rain and storms to Bakersfield and Kern County Thursday and Friday, and a cool down to the low 60s and upper 50s for highs this weekend. But the Weather Service predicts that if you are in some of the mountainous areas, 30s and 40s for highs are more likely, and you could see a little bit of snow. Your forecast is coming up. An 8-year-old child beaten and abused for days and finally killed, and now the people accused are getting closer to trial. 3 days before Christmas was the date set Monday by the court in a hearing for both Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante, Genesis Mata's father and stepmother, who prosecutors say abused the girl for several days while they were staying at the La Quinta Inn on Riverside Drive, and that's where her body was found in a bathtub in August. Meanwhile, the family of another child killed is benefiting from donations. You may remember the death of Xavier Hernandez last week when he and his father were hit in a parking lot, police say, by a man who was driving drunk. Sunday, the people who operate the food truck where we're getting food in that parking lot started taking donations and selling T-shirts and car washes with people lined up and ready to help. If you were affected by the power outage Friday evening, you were in a sizable crowd of about 5,000 PG&E customers who lost power. As of today, PG&E still had not explained what happened, but the company says they are looking into it. The city of Bakersfield reminds you that their administrative offices will be closed tomorrow because of Veterans Day, and the parade is at 10 o'clock downtown with street closures to start at 6. A map of those closures is available on the city Facebook page. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the army where you shoot them?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Like this. Bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make your call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Monday. God, I even have 12 written on my rundown.
So it was not the letter that had me, because I wrote that this morning. I don't know why. I don't. I'm losing it, y'all. I'm losing it. It's a Monday, that much I know. We still got lots to do. We'll get into some court news locally, talk about the Supreme Court decision in the 5, and talk a little sports before we get out of here. And the plight of Ghislaine Maxwell, which has improved greatly of late. Might even talk about that with our next guest. Professor Cathy Abernathy. How are you, Professor?
Thank you, Ralph. Very good. Doing good. You know, I should say this.
Yes.
I'm out in public. I'm in the grocery store. I go places. I can't tell you the number of people that come up to me and say how much they enjoy listening to me on your show.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, lots of people. So you've got a big audience. Or they only listen 4 to 4:30 on Monday. No.
Why are you shocked by that?
No, I'm not shocked. It's just, well, what's the chance that they hear my voice and then, well, they most hear me talking in the store. I'm probably talking to myself. I don't know.
No, they see you on television.
They saw, yeah, some of them say that too.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah,
Thank you for
very
sharing.
nice. No, it was a lot of people say they enjoy your show. They enjoy listening to us. So
that's good
I meant
to
to
know.
say that.
Thank you.
For a couple of weeks, I've been hearing it a lot.
You wanted to relive Proposition 50? Is there anything new?
No, except
The
I'm
appeal?
the only person in America. I was on KGT 5:08 p.m. election night when I said, I know when the shutdown will end.
I was saying the same thing. Ask Chris.
8:01 p.m.
Post-election day.
8:01 p.m. Tuesday night. Like Jim Scott, even at the end of the segment, said, and what's 8:01 p.m.? I said, well, the election's over. It was all about a big issue. I'm sure he probably wanted me to explain it for the audience.
And they got nothing. They got nothing.
Well, no, they got turmoil in California and in Virginia with all the, we have 2.6. I looked it up. 2.6 government union employees in California. Million. Okay. And they have spouses and they have mothers and they have daughter-in-laws and all those people. And the issue of the government shutdown was used here. And of course, in Virginia, which is everybody in the federal government in DC lives in Virginia, most of them. And so they got them all riled up and said, we need to put a stop to these shutdowns or whatever, what's happening to you. And I think that was a big part of their campaign. And that's why it ended right away when they got what they wanted. So, but the government union, and I fault Jerry Brown, the worst thing he did in 1975 was unionize all government workers, local, state, county, all of them. Because that means the negotiation is with unions. It's not with your council member. It's not with the employee. It's all union. Our budgets shot up after 75 because you can't fire somebody for not doing their job so much when they're a union.
Right.
So you have to just hire somebody else because it's the government. Private sector can't afford that. But anyway, I think that was the point of dragging it out, and it was well timed. It always happens this time of year, but this was a gutsy time for the legislature in California to pull this stunt about let's redraw seats, let's get rid of 5 congressmen, and now you know what's going on. There's battles between which Democrats are going to run for those seats, and
yeah, but you're not saying that had there not been a shutdown, that Republicans would have won in New Jersey and Virginia.
I didn't say New Jersey. Virginia, I think, I'm not sure how well that campaign went.
Winnie Sears was, I adore her.
I do too.
You know I do.
I wasn't wild about her presence.
She was a bad candidate.
From what I saw.
Spanberger was beatable.
Yeah,
she really was.
Weak.
She really was. But she's a centrist in a very purple state. She's an ex-CIA agent, former congresswoman. So she had name recognition. And I just don't think, we've played that audio a couple of times of the debate where Winnie Sears just seemed so desperate. She kept interrupting and it was like, wait, you're taking off the noose. The rope is around her neck. Just let her hang. She's killing herself, but you're interrupting.
Yeah, that one. And I don't know how much. I'm hoping while Youngkin was governor and doing some great things, he's very popular there.
Very
I'm hoping
popular.
she used him a lot, and also that, yeah, that she was part of all those victories that they were getting there. So,
I think he is part of that group that's going to run in 28, Glenn Youngkin.
Group to run for
president.
Yeah. Well, he can run for governor again too if he wants to do that.
Yeah, who wants that when you can be the leader of the free world?
Well, I think he did an excellent job in Virginia, long overdue, really working on the schools and things. So, yeah, he deserves it. In California, though, I followed a couple things on our side. The no vote. It should have been more about Trump. It should have been, this is what Trump's done. They're trying to stop it. The first thing they'll do with these 5 new congressmen is they'll have control of the House, and they'll move to impeach him, because that's what they do. And we should have been pushing that. The border's been solved here in California, but it was too much vague campaign. I didn't appreciate
Well,
it.
I think they're fearful that Trump has lost the Latino vote with the acts of ICE. I'm not sure how popular that
Well, we
is.
haven't seen the breakdown to know. Like, I still don't know what percent Democrats and Republicans voted in California. You don't know all that yet. And what ethnic groups out here that are voters are concerned that somehow something's going wrong here in California enough to want to vote for the yes vote. But yeah, it was very much time to be chaos in the fall before an election. And I totally agree with you. This almost 2 months in some states, but at least a month in Virginia of voting, where the dirt on this attorney general candidate comes out after half the state had voted. And now it's even worse. My concern has been in the fall, especially with city council, school boards. They're not campaigning year round. They don't have that kind of funds.
Right.
You don't know about these people, and so they have to build a campaign. They file in late August, so all of a sudden they're running, and you're already voting, and you don't even know anything about them, because you might know about president, but you don't know the whole ticket. So yeah, one day. That's the way it worked here, real fine for 150 to a couple hundred years, and now we're in this sweeping. It's actually September 10, and about 10 states start voting.
Yeah.
September 10, 2 months in advance.
Have
And
you-
that protects incumbents who voted for that law in their state.
Have you looked at what the Supreme Court is going to take a look at in terms of mail-in balloting?
Well, now there's 2 different things I've heard. One is that the president would like to do away with mail-in ballot voting completely. But the other thing that I completely agree with, and again, it was the way our laws were for hundreds of years, including when Obama ran for president and won, which is your ballot has to be in by 8 p.m. I don't care if you drag it in there yourself. If you were idiot enough to mail it at the post office that day, you got to know it's not going to get to the county elections by 8 p.m. So that's a little too late. You better go hand it in yourself. But to say it can go in and be delivered sometime after the election.
Right.
And when the hearing was in Sacramento on this bill, the language just says by a delivery service. And I asked, and I was up there, I said, oh, what delivery service? You don't specify. Well, FedEx and UPS. I said, well, what about Abernathy delivery service? Well, you don't name it. So that means anybody could deliver it, as long as they sign something saying this was received on the election day. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's that sloppy kind of work. So that's another reason that I agree with the old way, which was just a few years ago. Your ballot, however you get it there, better be in that office by 8 p.m. Tuesday night.
The case is Watson versus the Republican National Committee. Mississippi is defending its 5-day grace period, which is similar to ones I'm reading from the New York Times, which is similar to ones in place in many other states, as allowing election officials to count ballots that have been mailed by election day but arrive a few days later. That's crazy.
Well, it used to be you had to mail it sooner. And
I mean, how do we even determine close races? If you've got a 5-day grace period, that you're going to, in other words, the state of Mississippi is counting votes till like Thursday or Friday of that week.
Well, yeah, but look what
when
we did.
The election's on Tuesday.
But look what we did. We had ballots coming. We didn't have them coming in through Thanksgiving. It was December 2nd when Trump ran before. I guess it would have been not 16, maybe 20. ballots keep rolling in. They keep saying, and in their defense, the elections officials have to then look, did Ralph Bailey do this as well as vote at the poll? And they have to do all that checking. But simple system has been, and again, all this absentee ballot mailing, which I guess you brought it up, did you not? That at an apartment complex, particularly, people move out. They don't say, oh, I got to stop my voter registration. They don't do anything about it. They just register anew. So in an apartment complex, ballots come pouring in there. And when you go to the mailbox, you just stand there and you dump the mail that isn't yours, right? So those are live ballots. Those aren't sample ballots. Those are live ballots. And that's what I disagree with. And again, Gavin Newsom started that during COVID. Oh, you can't possibly go vote. We're going to mail you ballots. Well, he's still doing it. And I had this argument with the post office. I sent staff at 10 a.m. when Gavin Newsom's recall was going on to the Stockdale post office. I said, go look through the trash, see what you find. They came back with 17 ballots in 15 minutes, 17 ballots. So I told the elections official, it wasn't the woman that's there now, but I told her, hey, my staff just came back with 17 ballots that are sitting in the trash because the trash at the post office is clean because people don't eat there. What'd she do? She contacted Stockdale to put a different kind of lid so I couldn't stick my hand in it. I called her back and I said, that is the point. Do you know all these apartment complexes all over town? There's people coming and going, and those ballots are right there, and anybody can vote them because the signature requirement is also sloppy now. If they don't like your signature, they mail you a letter and they say to you, send us a new signature, and that becomes your signature. Well, if you've got, and the form is not a form with your name on it, you can just Xerox this letter and you can sit there and sign them all, and signature sloppy. So why did all this have to change when it worked so well? As I tell people, it elected Obama, so don't say it's, one side or the other. Why can't we have it where we vote by 8 p.m.? That's it. That's it. Post office or not. If you're ignorant enough to mail, because everybody knows it's at least 2 days, first class mail. If you're going to do it that late, that's your gamble. So that's the minimum, and apply for an absentee ballot. That's the way it used to be. If you're sick, if you're, you can't handle getting to the post office, you're going to be in Paris at a meeting, you apply for an absentee ballot so you're getting one, a live ballot, and you turn it in. But everybody gets one. I don't agree with that because it's a live ballot and it's sitting around trash cans and all over the place. That's not an accurate way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Cathy Abernathy is our guest. I want to switch gears. The president has been pushing hard on, and now I don't know if it's moved or not, whether they'll bring this back up again, but getting rid of the filibuster. And I finally heard him explain why he's so in favor of it. And it's beginning to make sense to me. I'm not sure if I'm on board yet, but at least the explanation makes sense. You know what he said? They're going to do it. And he said, how do we know that? Because if it hadn't been for Joe Manchin, and I forget who the other senator was,
Kristen
Sinema, they would have gotten rid of the filibuster. So why don't we do it now and start passing legislation? And I started to lean with him, but then it's just going to become a stupid ping pong game every 2-4 years. I really don't know how I feel about it because his logic makes sense because they are going to do it. And you know what they're going to do, Cathy? First thing they're going to do is they're going to pack the court. Then they're going to expand mail-in balloting. And then guess what they're going to do? DC and Puerto Rico will become new states. We'll have 52 and 4 new Democratic senators.
Because they know there's Democrats there and they'll get Democrat senator. Yeah, and for the audience to understand, in the House, there's 435 people. So it takes 218 votes. Getting 218 people of any party together on something, that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Now, the problem in the Senate is there's 100. The majority is 50 plus 1. And you think, well, 51, it's a small enough number. Maybe this idea of 60.
I've always liked it.
Makes some sense on the controversial
that you've
issues.
either got to have a mandate in your party or you've got to reach across the aisle.
Right. And I can see it more with why in the Senate. But when it's used, when we have, when I worked in Congress, I don't think we ever had a margin this small of either party. It was always 20, 12 at least. When you have what we have now, if somebody coughs on Vince Vaughn, they got to put a blanket around him or something because you're afraid.
Our guest tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, is Congressman Fong?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he'll be able to give you the latest because I think they're being called back in.
They are. They
Yeah.
are. And
Yeah.
did you hear the joke that I said? It's not a joke, but it's true. Hakeem Jeffries was telling his caucus to leave like today because of the delays that you caused, Hakeem. That's why.
Oh, I thought he was going to tell them get out of town because some of them are back there and you'll never come back because of these airline deals.
No, there's
Yeah.
and then somebody said that they were like, oh, come on, Ralph. They fly private. They don't fly private, do they?
No, what they do, as do congressional staff, they fly government rate, which is one super rate.
Really?
I used to fly Washington to LAX, $125.
Get
just
out of
buying
here.
it that day.
Wow.
And I'm presuming today it's a little bit more, but
Sure.
not much.
But it's not what we're paying.
No.
And they're flying first class.
Well, they can choose to spend more of their office budget on first class, but they don't all do that. I told you, Ralph, is it Nadler? Jerry Nadler.
Jerry Nadler.
Before he was this Jerry Nadler.
Before he got on the Ozempic.
I saw him once I was walking into Coach, and he's already was sitting in Coach on the aisle, and he signals the stewardess, and he goes, "Well, this is radio," but he takes his arms and
he couldn't reach.
No, he's saying that's his signal for get me the wider belt or whatever it's called.
Yeah, he couldn't reach.
Yeah.
Couldn't reach.
So, okay, so she knew that was the signal, and it just made me laugh as I walked by him. But,
I hate to admit this, but at one point in my life, that seatbelt was pretty tight. Cathy, I was 267 pounds
in this town, and
yes.
on the radio.
About 7-8 years ago, when I got to my highest, I was like 265, and I forget where I was going when I was that fat. I was traveling somewhere, and I just remember, oh my God, the seatbelt is tight, and I've got it to the utmost.
Well, was that a wake up belt call?
No, 210 over 110 was the wake up call. That was like, you know what? I'm going to start drinking water and eating chicken and fish. That was the deal. So, what do you think is going to happen
with the budget?
Yeah.
And all that. Well, I think they've come to. Well, they're going to delay some of the tougher decisions, but I'm glad they're not talking about subsidizing the healthcare industry. If they're going to give the funds on those people that are on the Obama ACA, give it to them to manage, like health savings account, versus the healthcare industry. They're doing darn well. And so it's so outrageous that this is maybe people will be better shoppers for healthcare. I mean, you can't just say, I want everything paid for, and you have no idea what it's costing. Because then, like a relative of mine, when she got on Medicare, boy, I'll go in for this. I got a hangnail, whatever it is. They don't care because someone else is paying for it, and we can't afford it with the number of people in America today. So hopefully that kind of reform gets through. And I think it will, because it'll be, by the time they get to this, it'll be election year, January, February, I think they're talking about discussing it. And people will be getting ready to run for office, and they don't want to have all this turmoil going on, I don't think. They wanted it this fall because it helped shake things up against Trump, particularly in California. But I think that it'll get resolved. I think people are very tired. The airline thing has probably made more newsworthy than even the so-called people that didn't have food, which the cheapest thing in a person's life is food. It's their rent. It's their car. It's their gas in this state. That's where they need their paycheck. But giving your kid a bowl of cereal in the morning, that's not where the problem is. The problem is the economy, and Trump's trying to fix it. And Democrats just want more payout coming from those people who are working. It won't balance out. There's too many.
Yeah.
Too many people that are so easy to get into the programs of the government. Today I just debated in front of the Hispanic Chamber about Prop 50, but one of my points was, and I've mentioned before and I won't now, but Dinesh D'Souza's explanation of the two forms of government: holding up a ladder or dropping a rope down for you to hang on to. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really good way to look at the difference. We need to bring those two concepts together and negotiate and compromise.
Why are they still talking about Proposition 50?
Well, because it's now, what my fear with what's happened here is this is going to become the norm. Congress is going to pass something with a majority. And so if you voted for it and you're a congressman in Michigan, and they're going to say, well, if we just redraw your seat, you won't be able to run again. So we'll beat you that way on that issue. And it's just become a game to constantly redraw the seats. And that's not the way people elected, like these 5 congressmen they just basically drew out of a seat, just got elected 11 months ago, and their seat has disappeared.
Is there any chance that this appeal, based on the idea that they broke the Constitution?
Yeah, they broke the Constitution, and all those people say the campaign was, this is a pause. We're just doing a pause. No, it's going to be enforced in 2026, 2028, and 2030. They're going to run all the elections through then and beyond. It'll be a different crowd then, but if they want to keep this going where they're going to keep drawing the seats, the commission plans are no better in the long run. They're just as devious because the criteria was empty of any specifics. So like I've said here before, I'm working with people about how we're going to do it a fair way, which is honor city and county lines. The less you cut them up, the better and more fair the plan is. Bakersfield Country Club's in 2 congressional seats. Lodi's in 3. That sort of stuff needs to stop. That's how the games are. And to just make the outcome be a particular party, that's not right.
Yeah.
So that's a big battle ahead because I'm very serious about that. The state capitol is 88% one party. And so even when there's tough votes like raising the gas prices, they say, well, I don't want to vote for that. I'm a Democrat, but I don't want to take a pass on this because I might run for controller of the state of California. I don't want that on my record. You don't have to. I got 70 other people voting for it. I only need 51 or 41 in the assembly.
You can you can buck your party without any type of
they don't need you.
That comes your way.
Right.
That's why the vote's not necessary.
Some of these Democrats around here that are voting for the oil industry. Well, there's so many Democrats that can vote no that your yes vote doesn't matter because you put that speaker in, and I would say that to Baines. You put that speaker in, you support that party up there, and they're the ones that have been killing us for 20 years here.
Yeah, Rudy Salas rode that until people started seeing through it, and he has won an election since.
Right. So yeah, there's consequences to all this, and we've been under siege. And even though, and I'm glad Shannon Grove and the others got something out of this governor, but he's also spent the last 7 years shutting down all our refineries. And then plus, if you're an oil man, you have to say, let's see, 2 more years, another governor, a different legislature. What are they going to do? Am I going to invest millions to start drilling again if this building changes their policy? And so that's another bad thing for people in California. They can't count on a pro-business, pro-job attitude in that state capital because most all of them are just supportive of government union. That's their main source of finances.
I cannot wait until he hits the national media. I really can't, because I've got a compilation I might even play right after you leave of all the lies that he's told. I found it somewhere where he'll say something. The compilation is he says something, and then they have a quote of him later saying the exact opposite thing. And there are about 3 or 4 of them. And I just think that national spotlight and the national media is going to
destroy him.
It's going to eat him alive.
Yeah.
It's going to eat him alive.
He has not had any kind of rough handling of the media, and he will.
Wait till the folks inside the Beltway get a load of high-speed rail. Wait, can you imagine when he's got to sit down with that girl from CNN?
He spent $100 billion, and there's nothing.
And there's nothing.
They haven't ordered a car. They don't have an Intertrek, but they want to build a terminal off Golden State Highway.
But soon we'll be going to Merced.
That's right.
Cathy Abernathy.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. 8 senators are facing criticism from Democrats for their deal with Republicans to end the federal government shutdown. The 8 senators voted Sunday night to provide crucial votes to allow the Senate to move forward on compromise legislation that would reopen the government.
What's going on?
Their decision was labeled a betrayal and pathetic by some of the most prominent voices in the Democratic Party. The Supreme Court has rejected a call to overturn its landmark decision that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. The justices on Monday turned away an appeal from a former Kentucky court clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples after the Supreme Court's 2015 ruling. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 381 points. The Nasdaq rose 522. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. A trial has been scheduled for December 22nd for two people accused of beating, torturing, and killing 8-year-old Genesis Mata at a La Quinta Inn on Riverside Drive in August. Those people, Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante, were also her father and stepmother. A drastic weather change is expected at the end of the week, with rain and storms possible in the lower elevations and a little snow possible if you are in the mountains, with highs there possibly in the 30s for Saturday. Some students at the Kern High School District's Career Technical Education Center stepped up early for Veterans Day, interviewing people who have served and are from this part of the state, putting the video on the school's social media channels. That was Friday. Veterans Day is tomorrow. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at radiodirect.com/privacy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Text help for help. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing? You've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications that are all over the news, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie, and if you qualify, you can get medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1s at 80 to 90% savings without insurance, all 100% online.
Wait, I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No long wait at the doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide and tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, for 80 to 90% less and shipped direct to your door.
Amazing. How do I get started?
Just send them a text.
Text SLIM to 797979 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less, 100% online. Don't wait. Text SLIM to 797979 right now for your exclusive offer. Text SLIM to 797979. That's SLIM to 797979.
These statements and products have not been evaluated or approved by the FDA for weight loss.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
Tuesday's Armstrong and Getty Show, we have another sports-fixing betting scandal, this time Major League Baseball. Where's it going to stop? And, of course, breaking news that Kim Kardashian has failed her bar exam with her 14 coach.
And how would you like to make $800,000 a year for doing nothing? Well, you'd have to start by being a relative of the founders of Black Lives Matter. That and the news of the day on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I want to be free. Yes, I am. I want to be free. Yes, I am. Oh, Lord. Somebody, well, not somebody. Stella's mom wrote in the chat room, I enjoy listening to Cathy in order to hear additional political governmental tidbits that I don't hear locally anywhere else except on the Ralph Bailey Show. That was nice of her. Thank you, Stella. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Got some court news. Ray Maha Jr. and Gabriela Bustamante were in court today. They had their trial set for December 22nd. They are the heinous human beings, in my opinion, who are alleged to have tortured and acutely sexually attacked Mata's biological daughter, Genesis Mata, 8 years old, found beaten, tortured, burned, you name it, sexually assaulted in the La Quinta Inn bathtub. As I talked about last week when the preliminary hearing was held, and you get to learn more than just a simple warrant, we found out that the coroner reported that Genesis, the 8-year-old, was so badly tortured, burned. They used boiling water. They would snap her hands in the microwave after they boiled the water. Cigarette burns, just whipped her with cable cords. The coroner reported that the wounds were so pervasive and so overwhelming that she could not determine what wound was the fatal attack on the young girl. And as I said, she was acutely sexually molested at the age of 8, or who knows how long that had gone on. And now they're facing murder charges along with mayhem and aggravated assault, child endangerment, et cetera, et cetera. And they are eligible for the death penalty. And their trial's been set for December 22nd. And I don't hesitate to remind you that we had the heads of Child Protective Services of DHS on the program some weeks ago, after it took us weeks to get them on the program, which, I always mention that because I think that shows either a sign of arrogance or evasiveness. Because and that's why I said, and I didn't mean to sound like I'm big and bad. Scott can do this, JR can do this, where we can get just about anybody on this show or their shows within 24 to 48 hours. Vince Vaughn is going to be with us tomorrow. And I called Allie, I think, on Friday. I tried to sneak him in on Friday. She said no, but he's good for early next week. It took me weeks to get the head of DHS on this program to do 10, 15 minutes by phone. And that's, to me, again, either evasiveness or some kind of arrogance that I don't have to respond to the media. I don't have to respond to the community of which I serve and trying to save their children. And they came on and explained why we are getting this organization, San Diego, to come up here and help us save our children. And yet they had the audacity, when I asked them the daring question, how would you grade yourself? They gave themselves an A. In the wake of this child's death and many other cases that could easily be avoided, and as I always try to mention whenever we talk about Genesis Mata, there was a case opened. They examined the situation. And these two nitwits, Mata and Bustamante, were able to hide gruesome attacks on an 8-year-old from a social worker. Where after the case was opened, they determined, there's nothing to see here. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. When the coroner says she was tortured so badly, I can't even tell you how she died. And you have the gall to say, we're perfect. We're an A. We're in the 90 percentile. We're doing just fine. It's crazy. To be honest with you, my hope was, and I still don't know how I got in, because I have a friend who I was just hanging out with who told me she got summoned and she got called in just this past week. And I said, well, I got called in the week before after blowing it off or forgetting about it, jury duty, and I wasn't even close. I was in group 86. And by Friday, they got up to like group 60. I thought there was a great need for jurists. And to be honest with you, there was part of me that was hoping I'd get called and maybe get on that trial. I probably would have gotten eliminated though, because maybe the DA's office listens to the show and knows how biased I am. And in voir dire and the questioning of potential jurors, you got to be honest. And if they had asked me, do you think they did it? I'd say, hell yes. Maybe thank you for your time, Mr. Bailey. Hit the road. But their trial will begin just before Christmas. I don't think it'll be a very long trial. I would guess maybe a couple of weeks. And I don't think it's going to take very long for a jury to come in. I think it's absolutely overwhelming. And it's one of the most disgusting, incredible cases that I've ever seen. It really is. When the coroner tells you, I can't tell you how she died because she was so abused. And the fact that a father and stepmother were involved in acute sexual abuse, and I hope you know what that means. That means that they were penetrating her anally and vaginally, an 8-year-old. And DHS came in and said, we're an A. We're an A. Everything's great. The other court news, Maya Hernandez, the lip filler, the woman from, I believe, Visalia, who came here to get her lips filled, right down the street, actually. We're just about, I don't know, maybe 500 yards from Real Road. We're right off just west of the 99. And she's on the other end of Real Road going to this medical thing to get her lips filled, and left her 2 sons in a car at 101-degree day for hours. And one of the boys died. The youngest boy died, Emilio. And her deal got delayed till next Tuesday. She'll be back in court next week. But I think that's another slam dunk case. I don't see how in the world they give her a pass on this thing. It'll be interesting to see what they come back with in terms of murder 1, murder 2, involuntary manslaughter, and what happens to the other boy if they put her away, which they will. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. And she did it under the assumption that she could leave her car running. But apparently on these newer cars, and I'm the last person to ask this or comment on this, but apparently these new cars shut off if there's no activity after a certain period of time. And she'd been in there for a while. And so the car shut off, and the boy died. Such stupid, wasteful carelessness. Just makes no sense. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got?
Mario's on the line.
Mario, what's really going on?
Hey, Ralph, how are you?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I hate to be that get off my lawn guy.
Yeah.
But ever since the Californians got sold, there's no more news of Bakersfield. I think the local channels do a pretty good job. But if you want to read the newspaper, it takes me I'm actually trying to read each article, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 15 on a Saturday. And football scores, high school football, you don't see that till Tuesday now because they don't deliver Sunday or Monday.
On the week, yeah.
So how are people supposed to know what's going on? I was listening to Greg Kirk today on one of your other stations. I didn't know BC was still playing football or had a football game coming up. Who knew?
Really?
Or at least it made it sound like.
I think that
BC's last game was this last weekend, Mario.
Yeah, they're done.
Oh, okay.
They're done.
Okay. How'd they do? How about that?
Not very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they went like 5-5 or something like that, maybe even 4-6.
Okay. So you know more than I do, and I thought I was a pretty good local sports guy.
Yeah,
I paid attention.
I reached out because I'm, doing some side work with the Kern Community College District. I was trying to get their new AD on, and they never got back to me about that. In fact, I have a meeting on Wednesday.
Just throwing this out there,
wanted
Mario,
to get Tyler, wanted to get the head coach on, like we had last year's coach on.
That's true. Just gonna say you can listen to my show, the Early Bird Special, every morning from 7 to 9 on Wednesdays, where we have Kenny Calvin and Rob Chavez talking BC football as well.
Okay, well, I'm at work, but I will make a point of trying to get it on your station when I'm at work. But still, how are people supposed to know what's going on in the world if you're not watching, channel 17 or 23 or 29, and the paper is at least 2 days behind anything relevant. And I think that's part of the problem. I think that's part of the problem.
Freckle-faced black man that can help you with that one.
Or an entire radio station that starts at 6 a.m. with Scott Cox, with J.R. Flores, and then
okay, and I'm.
But yeah, keep it locked on 96.1 FM.
And Ralph, I'm 59 years old, so I am a loyal KERN person, but I am not the normal Bakersfield person.
True that. You are very engaged.
I think part of the problem is nobody, they just want to hear something, take the 5-minute, if that, soundbite, and then move on to whatever else is going on in their life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's
no one wants to engage, and if there's no local paper or people caring, and I think part of having a local newspaper helps people care because they see what's going on, or they read about what's going on, and people want to be involved. But if you're always running 2 days behind whatever thing, people aren't going to care.
Well, I was part of the transition. I wasn't part of the transition, but I was there when the transition began, when the Richard Bean group came in and they moved a lot of people out, including Michael Trahi, who was fired wrongfully and sued and won. Rob Walters, who I consider one of the greatest journalists I've ever met, who's now a managing editor in Tennessee. They lost just a score of incredible reporters. Lois Henry is no longer there. I mean, they just pissed away an incredible staff that it's amazing. I told the story when I first I was a staff writer for a very short period of time. I was a correspondent for about a year and then was a staff writer for a very short period of time. But when I was there, it was the first daily newspaper I'd ever worked for. And I used to have to leave the newsroom sometimes just to gather my thoughts because there were so many reporters and it was so loud in that newsroom. And then to come back when I first came here and Scott was doing his show from the Californian, and I sat in a couple of times, and to walk through that newsroom, and it was like the Gobi Desert. There'd be like 3 or 4 people in the newsroom. And it's just gone down from there, where when I was there in the mid 90s, I think the subscription rate was in the 70s, 80s. And now I think it's like down into like 19,000. It's one of the worst demises. And you can't just say it's exclusive to California, because it's going on, the 08 depression or whatever you want to call it destroyed a lot of newspapers, where those major ads, the Circuit Cities, the Mervyn, those one-page advertisement ads are no longer. And so it is, because people think that newspapers make money selling newspapers. That's not true. It is pure advertising. And once that dried up in the 08, 09, with all these different closures and those ads gone, there was no hope.
Well, I mean, even
and it's only going to get worse.
With your show, it's based on ratings and how much ad dollars you bring in, I'm guessing.
Yes.
That's a lucrative part of your job.
Primarily ad revenue, though. Primarily. And that's always the great debate. What comes first, ratings or ad revenue? You know what I'm saying? Because the higher your ratings, obviously, the more advertising you're going to get, because people want to be on a popular show.
It's a whole chicken and egg thing.
It is. It really is. It's a weird business, the media. It really is.
Well, I have to come clean.
What do you got?
So Game 7, It was all I could do not to walk away after it was 3-0.
Me too. You haven't heard my story? I was home by myself watching the game, 3-1, and Arié calls me and says, come on, boy, let's go to KC's. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be in public and watch Toronto win the World's Championship. And he said, oh, come on, I'm halfway there. You got to meet me up there. And I'm like, you no good son of a... And I get dressed, and he walks in, and he says, all we need is one home run to get us back in. And before he could sit down, Max Muncy hit the home run to get us within one. And then I was like, holy crap, I really think we got a chance. And the rest was just, there's the only thing better than winning is coming from behind and winning. That's the only thing better than winning. Or winning when you don't think you're going to.
Yeah, because Toronto could have won that game at least
3 times
after the 9th inning.
Yeah, absolutely. And they should have won it in the 11th inning. You got to hit a fly ball, or at least it should have gone to extra innings. Who was that? The Fatso Kirkland, or whatever his name is?
Alejandro
Kirk. He's got to hit a fly ball in that situation. He absolutely has to. That's what I kept screaming while we were at Casey's Steakhouse. It's just, he's the only thing we can do to get out of this inning is a ground ball. That's the only way we get out of this inning. So, it's sad. It's sad.
That was a great win.
Yeah, it was. Great series, too. All right, Barry, I got to fly, man. Thanks for the call.
Take care.
All right, we'll see you. You know what I saw all weekend long on Reels?
What's that now?
This is a new phenomena, I suppose. Is that what's his name? Kelsey?
It'd be Jason teaching Peyton Manning how to block like a center. The new skit thing they're doing this week.
I watched his wife's podcast for the first time. Do you know why?
Allie Kelsey, I'm assuming she had Taylor on, maybe?
No, she had the mom on.
Oh,
she had Donna on. Yeah, and the kids. I love seeing the girls. I really do. But you know what the new trend is now?
What's that?
People recording themselves watching sporting events. That's all I saw this weekend. Where they're all sitting around, it'll be 4 or 5 of them, and here's the 2-2 pitch to Miggy. Oh, he gets it! And they're all, and the room goes crazy, and I'm like...
That's, you're just catching on to this. This ain't new. But you're probably catching on to the John Boy people, which are fantastic. I highly recommend you watch those guys.
The guy that reads lips?
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's always right.
No, he's not always right. But him and his group of guys, very intellectual about baseball.
Yeah, but there's this guy who's made his fortune on replaying things, and then he tells you what the person is saying. And he slows it down. Like, sometimes he's right.
He's pretty dang
particularly when they're cursing. He's like, F you, you MFer.
Yeah, it's usually
those are pretty obvious.
It's usually the umpire interactions.
But the thing about watching, like, a family watch a ball game, that just seems, that's old hat. That's...
it's a thing that's been going for a little bit now.
I don't understand that. That is ultimate narcissism. Hey, guys, let's film us watching the game. Okay.
That's what people like, reactions. I don't know why either, but it is what it is.
But how can it be real if you know there's a camera sitting over there on the kitchen table?
It's all fabricated, in my opinion, as well.
It is.
But, hey.
Quick timeout. We're coming right back. No time. Very little time before we get to the top of the hour. We'll rehash our top story. We'll talk about the Supreme Court and talk a little sports before we get out of here. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday on a busy week. As I mentioned earlier, our former federal magistrate Judge Teresa Golder and Vince Fong, one of our favorite congressmen, join us tomorrow. In the meantime, I would stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Casey.
That means that it is time for you to select your Medicare plan for 2026. This annual enrollment period, choose a name you already trust. Select Kern Family Healthcare Medicare, DSNP, a new option for people who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal. For over 29 years, Kern Family Healthcare has been a trusted name in Medi-Cal. Now, we're here to support your Medicare journey too. Call 1-866-661-3767. Again, that's 1-866-661-3767. Or visit www.kernfamilyhealthcare.com/Medicare to learn more and enroll. Start your Medicare journey with local care you trust. Choose Kern Family Healthcare. Kern Family Healthcare Medicare is an HMO D-SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the California Medicaid program. Enrollment in Kern Family Healthcare Medicare HMO D-SNP depends on contract renewal.
The holidays have descended on us. I literally saw someone this weekend driving home with a Christmas tree. And where would you rather be during the holidays than at KC Steakhouse? Great place to take out of state guests or out of county guests, your family, your in-laws, people that are going to be visiting during either Thanksgiving or Christmas. And I know that Cassie Bill has something special for both those holidays. So be ready to hear about that in the coming days. But of course, you all voted it the best steakhouse in town, the Bakersfield, California poll, and the best ambiance as well. But don't forget about the Stockyard. I'm glad to hear that some folks are telling Cassie that they heard about it from this show. It is a great way to end the night. Go next door, have one of the craft cocktails, hear some live music on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. Where would you rather be than on F Street in the capable hands of Cassie Biddle's incredible staff at KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Are you ready for a night of elegance and entertainment? The Buena Vista Museum of Natural History and Science cordially invites you to this year's Fall Gala. Dining with the Dinosaurs, Saturday, November 15th, starting at 6 p.m. This will be an unforgettable evening of fundraising and celebration. Enjoy hors d'oeuvres, dinner, and dessert. Bid on exclusive items at our silent auction. Enjoy interactive activities like the Time Traveler's Fossil Find and Secrets Beneath the Sand. Crack a Cretaceous egg and take a tour of ancient Egyptian life. Remember, Dining with the Dinosaurs is for adults only, so make it a perfect date night or gather your friends for a memorable evening out. Secure your reservations now. Go online to buenavistamuseum.org. Your attendance at the Buena Vista Museum Fall Gala will help them continue their mission of science education. Don't miss the Fall Gala fundraiser. Dining with the Dinosaurs, Saturday, November 15th. Reserve your spot today at buenavistamuseum.org.
It's the JR Show.
So it looks like Prop 50 is going to pass. That's fine. I respect the process. I might not agree with the outcome, but I at least respect the process. The problem is Democrats still have to win elections next year. They couldn't flip Valadeo's seat, and that district has been Democrat for a long time. So this isn't over. They might have won Prop 50, but they still need voter turnout, which is a problem for them, and they still need to win congressional races.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.
I was very thrown off.
Well, how did they score 13 points?
Again, I take it, or at least I chalk it up just to being divisional games. Those games you could never really predict.
But I mean, what did they do? Turnovers? Just couldn't get it done?
Turnovers. Yeah. Josh had 2 by himself, not counting 2 from Cook, and yeah.
Yeah, that'll get it done. Final hour of the broadcast. Don't go anywhere.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Air travelers should expect worsening cancellations and delays this week, even if the government shutdown ends. The Federal Aviation Administration is moving ahead with deeper cuts to flights at 40 major U.S. airports. Amy Lark says with both she and her husband being air traffic controllers, not having paychecks the past 2 weeks have made their financial situation very tenuous.
Now having this 2 paychecks, that uncertainty and that financial strain is becoming unbearable. It's now a dinner time conversation with my kids on prioritizing bills. Yesterday, my kids asked me how long we could stay in our house. Having to answer that question was heartbreaking.
Air traffic controllers have been unpaid for nearly a month. Some have stopped showing up to work, citing the added stress and the need to take second jobs.
Scott's the only one taking.
President Trump has pardoned dozens of allies accused of trying to overturn his 2020 election loss. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
According to a signed proclamation, former Trump personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani, former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, attorneys Sidney Powell and John Eastman, and others have been granted full, complete, and unconditional pardons. The proclamation said the pardons were designed to continue the process of national reconciliation. Donald Trump was also indicted on felony charges related to the 2020 election, but the case was dismissed after he was reelected last year. Greg Clugston, Washington.
8 senators are facing criticism from Democrats for their deal with Republicans to end the federal government shutdown. The 8 senators voted Sunday night to provide crucial votes to allow the Senate to move forward on compromise legislation that would reopen the government. More on these stories available at townhall.com.
I love Kim.
The national debt is soaring and the dollar is weakening. Rising deficits and market instability are creating a perfect storm of economic uncertainty. In unpredictable times, more people are turning to physical gold and silver, real tangible assets that have protected wealth for centuries, as a way to safeguard their savings and retirement. And now with the Fed preparing another rate cut, precious metals are poised for dramatic gains in the coming weeks. At Advantage Gold, we help you move your IRA or eligible 401k into physical precious metals, tax-free and penalty-free. When you call 800-741-GOLD, you'll receive a free gold guide packed with real-world strategies to help protect your investments. Call 800-741-GOLD or visit AdvantageGold.com. Call 800-741-4653. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Call 800-741-GOLD.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
When and why you could see some much cooler weather. I'm Chris Davis. That is because of a cold front coming through toward the end of the week that is expected to bring rain and storms to Bakersfield and Kern County Thursday and Friday, and a cool down to the low 60s and upper 50s for highs this weekend. But the Weather Service predicts that if you are in some of the mountainous areas, 30s and 40s for highs are more likely, and you could see a little bit of snow. Your forecast is coming up. An 8-year-old child beaten and abused for days and finally killed, and now the people accused are getting closer to trial. 3 days before Christmas was the date set Monday by the court in a hearing for both Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante, Genesis Mata's father and stepmother, who prosecutors say abused the girl for several days while they were staying at the La Quinta Inn on Riverside Drive, and that's where her body was found in a bathtub in August. Meanwhile, the family of another child killed is benefiting from donations. You may remember the death of Xavier Hernandez last week when he and his father were hit in a parking lot. Police say by a man who was driving drunk. Sunday, the people who operate the food truck where they were getting food in that parking lot started taking donations and selling T-shirts and car washes with people lined up and ready to help. If you were affected by the power outage Friday evening, you were in a sizable crowd of about 5,000 PG&E customers who lost power. As of today, PG&E still had not explained what happened, but the company says they are looking into it. The city of Bakersfield reminds you that their administrative offices will be closed tomorrow because of Veterans Day, and the parade is at 10 o'clock downtown with street closures to start at 6. A map of those closures is available on the city Facebook page. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday. What is the date? The 10th?
The 10th of November.
All right. So I got to pay my bill on Wednesday.
Correct.
Yeah.
By Wednesday, I suppose.
Still lots to do in the final hour. Our top story today, obviously, is, and have you seen anything? Have they signed this thing yet? Let me check.
All I saw is that they were getting ready for the vote, but that was a little bit ago.
This is 3 minutes ago. A plan was moving through the Senate with the help of Democratic defectors, but without the health insurance subsidies Democrats long demanded. Doesn't say whether they voted or not. This was just 3 minutes ago. The Senate on Monday cleared a critical hurdle to passing a bipartisan deal to end the nation's longest government shutdown, a day after the plan won the support of a splinter group of Democrats. Even without the concession, their party had spent weeks demanding. A 60-40 vote on day 41 of the shutdown allowed the measure to move ahead with the support of Republicans and the group of 8 Democratic defectors who backed it over the opposition of the rest of the party. Senator John Thune, Republican of South Dakota, the majority leader, was pressing for a vote to pass the bill as early as Monday night. So apparently, because this was 3 minutes ago, they have not, but it will pass. And as everybody has speculated, the vote will probably occur on Wednesday. And of course, that's because Congress is not in session. They've all been sitting at home collecting checks while TSA and air traffic controllers and other folks are not getting paid. Here are some of the people that will get paid, and some of the things came out of this clean resolution. A 1-year extension of the CR, military construction, is that the word I have there? Military construction folks and agriculture and SNAP will be funded until September of 26. Guaranteed federal workers get back pay, which is gargantuan because that was in question, and those fired will be rehired. And that's what Cathy was alluding to, that they didn't want to make that deal before election because where do federal workers live? Most of them live in the Virginia area. Fairfax County, Loudoun County, some of the most affluent areas and some of the best school districts in the nation. And there was a gubernatorial race, there was an attorney general's race that, as Cathy also mentioned, as we've talked about, because of the goofy state laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, they've been voting for weeks. And these horrendous text messages that I've been telling you about from Jay Jones, the attorney general candidate, now the attorney general elect, they came out where he's talking about putting a bullet in the head of the Speaker of the Assembly in Virginia and his wife holding their dead babies so she would understand empathy. And yet he won by 6 points. He won by 6 points, and partly because they were voting long before this broke out, and the sting of federal workers upset at the leadership inside the Beltway, who has many of them either fired or in fear of being fired. So the fact that they're going to get their back pay and those workers are going to go back to work is gargantuan, but it happened obviously after the election. That's exactly what the Democrats wanted. There were 8 Democrats. Cathy Cortez Masto of Nevada was recently elected. Dick Durbin, longtime senator from Illinois. I just have JF, and I keep forgetting the man's name, John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, who, by the way, is going to be on the View tomorrow, which ought to be interesting because you should have seen the liberal Democrats on the View this morning's heads exploding at this deal. And it was Sonny Hostin who was screaming, Chuck Woolery, Chuck Connors.
Chuck. Oh, Lord. Uncle Chuck.
Uncle Chuck?
I do have an Uncle Chuck, actually.
Chuck Brown, formerly known as Charlie.
Chuck it deep.
Chuck it deep?
I don't know. I'm running out of Chucks.
Chuck Wagon, if you're going to use phrases.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Chuck. You know, my Uncle Charles was never called Chuck.
Really?
Never.
Well, the only ones I know that.
He was never called Charlie either. Do you know why? Little family secret.
Why is that?
Because my grandfather was known as Charlie Bailey. And there's only one Charlie Bailey in Beaufort. And he's still, I don't know if I'd call him a legend, but among the Black community in Beaufort, my grandfather is still revered. He really is. Actually, both my grandfathers are revered in the city of Beaufort because, as I've talked about so many times, my mother and father met when they were like 7 or 8 years old. My mother's family were living in Statesboro and then Savannah, where my grandfather was a Baptist preacher. And right around the right after the war, he got a job right after World War II. He got a job at Tabernacle Church in Beaufort, South Carolina, which happened to be the church that Charlie and Sadie Bailey and her 3 children, Charles Jr., better known as Pee Wee, my dad's oldest brother, who's still alive at 88, my dad and his younger brother, my Uncle Irvin, who I just told you about a week ago, got into a horrific car accident. And my grandfather, on my mother's side, baptized my dad. And there's the old story that my mother would say. She would tell the story constantly. And during one party, my father, underneath his breath with his boy, said, as my mother's telling, yeah, my father baptized Big Ralph. And my father interjected, yeah, and the brother tried to drown me, although he didn't use the phrase brother. And it was just a really funny moment. That's how I spent my childhood, eavesdropping on my parents at parties. It was so much fun. They were so more fascinating than their teenage kids. You know, I'd get like all the dirt, like on the kids. They talk about their kids. And I was like, what? I didn't know Carla tried to sneak out the house. What? Then I would get all the dirt. And as long as I kept quiet, I don't know whether they didn't recognize me or they just didn't care. But if I laughed, even if I laughed out loud, just laughed, they'd be, boy, get out of here and listen to old folks' business. Go play with the kids. Like, damn. That's all I had to do was laugh or make a noise. I was out. But otherwise, I could just sit there and just listen to them gossip about their marital problems. And it was always interesting. Like the women would talk horrendously about their husbands. Like, Big Ralph just comes home and sleeps. He's either in a book or he's asleep. Might as well stay at the hospital. Girl, I know. Richard spent, all he talks about is just boop, 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 boop. And then the husbands would do the same thing. Man, my wife's got me doing this. I was like, maybe that's why I never got married. Because I never heard a really good thing like, man, I love my marriage.
You know, to be honest with you, I'm kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like growing up, all you hear is horror stories and people say, never get married. And it's like, yeah, well, it doesn't seem like a very positive thing anymore.
And it's a 50-50 shot that it survives.
Right. I'm not even 50-50 anymore.
And I knew, you know, I was a horrible human being with women in my 20s and 30s. And I was just like, there's no way in the world I could be faithful to my wife. And who wants that? You know, I've always felt like I've never understood cheating. I understand the need for different sex. Because that's men. I'm sorry, ladies, that's men. That's what drives cheating. It's not like they're tired of you or they don't like making love to you. It's called strange. That's what it's called. That's what guys allude to it because it's just something different, you know? And I just was like, no way. And it wasn't until it was like 50 that I was like, now I could be faithful. And that's the only time, like late in life, like Roxana and Lori, I think were the only two women I was ever faithful to. And then by the time I was 50, I met somebody that I wanted to marry, and she just didn't want to get married. And now it's just way too late. Way too late. Even though
never too late.
This situation.
You taking off yet? We in the cockpit at least? Like, what's going on?
We are on the tarmac.
Okay.
We are on the tarmac.
Or just about to get the spiel from the flight attendant?
Oh, they're in their jets. They're in their seats.
Okay.
They're in their seats. We're preparing for takeoff.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
We'll see. It's it's an ever evolving situation.
This is true. Traditionally is.
But there was a discussion this weekend that was very interesting that I wish I could share, but I obviously could not. But it was very interesting. Like, I don't know how to put it. I don't know. I'm not going to put it. Let's take a break. As a matter of fact, save myself for myself. We got a good one tonight, though. Jordan Love really needs to play well tonight. He really, really does. As the Eagles are about to kick off to the Pack at Lambeau. And we are underway. Good thing this weekend, the Raiders didn't lose this weekend. They didn't play this weekend, but, what are you going to do at this point? I just hope we go 2-15 at this point. Might as well tank. Might as well. Because it looks like the Jets are going to win a couple of games. It looks like who else is in the
Saints ain't going to win more than 2 games.
They won this weekend.
I know, but they ain't going to win another one.
So how many wins they have?
2.
Oh, damn.
So do the Jets.
Oh, the Jets only have 2. I thought they had 3.
No, they just got their second one this weekend. Technically on a win streak.
Huh. That's funny. Quick timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN, where we stream live at currentradio.com.
News Talk 96.1.
You want me to play Messmaker?
Who?
Messmaker?
Yeah. 9 a.m.
On the Tuesday edition of the First Look program, we may well be talking about the end of the government shutdown. We're going to talk water with the best in the business. That would be Lois Henry from sjbwater.org. And we'll have state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the World Wide Webs at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you join us every Thursday, particularly at 4:30, when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us. Daniel gives us a weekly update on the deficit and its growth. We look at silver and gold and obviously the stock market and all kind of economic issues that most importantly impact you. But again, you guys know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. I keep telling you guys, it's one of the smartest moves that I've ever made financially. Call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400 if retirement is in your near future. Or just tune in Thursdays at 4:30 when he joins us every week. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. Pet stains on your carpet? Carpet Outlet Plus has everything you need to make your floors pet-proof. With over 100 in-stock waterproof floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet-perfect carpet. Call, click, or come by today for your free in-home estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
The annual enrollment period for Medicare is here. That means that it is time for you to select your Medicare plan for 2026. This annual enrollment period, choose a name you already trust. Select Kern Family Healthcare Medicare, D-SNP, a new option for people who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal. For over 29 years, Kern Family Healthcare has been a trusted name in Medi-Cal. Now, we're here to support your Medicare journey too. Call 1-866-661-3767. Again, that's 1-866-661-3767. Or visit www.kernfamilyhealthcare.com/Medicare to learn more and enroll. Start your Medicare journey with local care you trust. Choose Kern Family Healthcare. Kern Family Healthcare Medicare is an HMO D-SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the California Medicaid program. Enrollment in Kern Family Healthcare Medicare HMO D-SNP depends on contract renewal.
Christmas is a time for hope, caring, love, good cheer, sharing, and understanding. And the fine staff at Smith's Bakery is hoping to help make your celebration even more enjoyable with their holiday treats. No holiday is complete without some holiday cookies, cakes, seasonal breads, or pies. Smith's Bakery has been a Bakersfield tradition since 1945, with 8 locations to serve you. Merry Christmas and Feliz Navidad from the Smith's Family Bakery to yours.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with
flight. I really can't. There were more than 6,000 delays today and close to 3,000 cancellations. I mean, you're almost assured of either a cancellation or a delay if you've got a connecting flight. It's crazy. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got on the board?
Ralph, you should wear your fedora tomorrow.
I don't wear the fedora anymore. I got rid of the fedora. In typical Bailey fashion, never really had it cleaned. I should have had it. What do you do a hat? What is that called when you have a hat brushed or there's a term? Steamed.
Steamed.
There's a term for it, and I never did. And then I left it at Cal State. I was asked to come speak at a communications class, and I left it at Cal State. I'm not going to name the professor, but he's in the communications department. I don't know if he's still there because this was a couple of years ago. And he kept dodging me. I kept saying, I left my hat in your classroom. He said, oh, yeah, I've got it. And he kept dodging me, and he kept dodging me. It took me like a month to get my hat back from this guy. And I couldn't understand because ain't nobody got a chrome dome my size. I've got a very, very large head. I don't know if Coach Fowler remembers it. If his wife's listening, I don't know if Coach listens. My high school coach lives in Bakersfield. He moved up here before I did. And maybe it was Beatty. Yeah, it had to be Beatty because it was JV. Yeah, it was JV. It was Glenn Beatty. It wasn't Coach Fowler. It was my 9th grade year where they could not find a helmet that fit me. And I'll never forget, Glenn Beatty, our JV coach, was like, oh, this is impossible. Come on. I'm taking you up to the equipment room. And we went, there was this, Buckley has this, it's in a canyon in Sherman Oaks. And so the equipment room was up this hill. We had to climb up this up to the equipment room that nobody goes to except our equipment manager. But me and Coach Beatty went there personally, and he was like, "All right, here, try this on. This was John Nagurski. He was 6'6", 350 pounds. Try this one on." And it kept like, sorry, coach. And he'd be like, all right, hold on. This was Peter Magnuson. He played for LSU. He was 6'7", 350 pounds. Try this on. And after about 3, he was like, damn. And he was like, Bailey, there's nothing we can do. You got to. And I said, you know what? I've been talking about this with my dad. I'm just going to buy, because I wanted a water helmet. Water helmets were just coming into fashion in the late 70s. And I was really concerned about that. I read this thing about how bad helmets are. And Robert Gilly, a good friend of mine, got a really bad concussion. He was a year ahead of us when he was playing JV football. So I wanted a helmet. So we had to go order a helmet. And do you know, for the first 2 weeks of practice, I had to do all the drills. I had to do all the running. When we would scrimmage or we would hit, there I am standing on the sidelines. You talk about frustrating for a 9th grader who's just playing high school football for the very first time, and we're finally in pads, and I'm standing on the sidelines. It was pretty damn frustrating. What else you got?
Let's see. Mary Marcus says, Ralph, it's No Shave November.
Yeah, I read that. And I read the thing. I thought I answered the Fedora question. That was in the chat room as well. I should pay more attention to the chat room. I apologize that I don't. But no, I look horrible with facial hair. I don't like. I mean, if I had like real facial hair, like for the viewers, like I cannot grow a beard. I literally can't grow a beard. There's no hair that grows here. I have no hair on my body. I have no hair on my arms. You see that? And no hair on my legs. See that? I am the envy of every woman in North America, or on the planet for that matter. And when I was younger, people would ask me, not even when I was younger, fairly recently, I've had people ask me, do you shave your legs? And when I was young, I'd say, yes, I am a professional swimmer. And they didn't know whether I was being serious or not. They'd be like, what? I was like, no, I don't shave my legs. But I have very little body hair. So I can't. And when these little cat hairs come in, it's just obnoxious. And I just wait until I get my hair cut, and I have Gooby do the whole damn thing. That's you know. One more. Let's get to the. Please stand by. May I have your email address, my brother? Absolutely. Ralph Bailey. Please stand by. Mark Sandel. Ralph Bailey. Why won't the beat take effect? Bailey. At what is my at?
Current radio? Is that the current
radio? God dang it. Radio.com. Good Google movie. And there's a dash in there.
Spell check is always the worst.
I know. Exactly. That's what's going on. Radio. It's putting a dash in there because it won't fit on one line. And he's going to think that there's a dash in my address.
It may not leave the dash in there. I would try sending it by itself just to make sure.
I did.
It may just do that just because of the way your phone is. But
yeah, okay. One more. Do we have time?
We got about 30 seconds. I can get this one out real quick. Trump is protecting Maxwell and by extension protecting pedophiles. With what a slap in the face to all of Epstein's victims. Keep supporting your guy, Ralph.
Well, this was on the Biden. The Biden DOJ had this as well. They could have prosecuted. They could have done whatever they wanted. I don't know why Ghislaine Maxwell is getting the kind of comfort she's getting. I really don't.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Senate has begun its final votes on
Why do they
legislation
keep
to reopen
allowing
the
that?
government, bringing the longest shutdown
They
in
keep
history
allowing-
closer to an end after a small group of Democrats struck a deal with
They
Republicans.
keep allowing on
The
the tush
shutdown
push
could last a few more
them to
days
jump
as
off
members of the
sides.
House, which has been on
It's not even
recess since
close.
mid-September, return to Washington to
Yes.
vote on the legislation. The Supreme Court has rejected a call to overturn its landmark decision that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. The justices on Monday turned away an appeal from a former Kentucky court clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples after the Supreme Court's 2015 ruling. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 381 points. The Nasdaq rose 522. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The two people accused of the torture, abuse, and eventual death of 8-year-old Genesis Mata at a motel on Riverside Drive several months ago are scheduled to go on trial for the crime. At a Monday hearing, a trial date of December 22nd was set for Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante, her father and stepmother. If you were victim to the power outage Friday night, you should know that PG&E is still looking into it, but they haven't made a public diagnosis yet. More than 5,000 people were without lights from around 7:45 to 10:45. The people who worked the food truck in the parking lot where 8-year-old Xavier Hernandez was hit and killed last Monday were at it this week with a donation drive to try and ease the family's financial burden. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why the big wireless companies want you on an unlimited plan? It's because they need you to help cover the cost of the 20-somethings who are using a lot of data every month. Fact is, according to the latest research studies, most people 50 and up, like me, only use 12 gigs or less each month. Don't get bamboozled by big wireless. At Consumer Cellular, pick what suits your needs. Whether it's 1 gig, 5, 10, or unlimited, the point is, pay for exactly what you need and nothing more. We use the same towers as the big guys, but since we don't own and maintain them, we can pass the savings on to you. Our plans start at just $20 a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Very significant day in the country's history as we celebrate Veterans Day. We'll have a lot of different cool aspects of the show. We'll also continue to discuss the absolute latest as it pertains to the shutdown. All that and more. You won't want to miss it. It will be the Tuesday Veterans Day edition of Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
One of my favorite Tony Bennett songs, Antonio Benedetto. Eight 842 KERN. The Supreme Court has a couple of gargantuan cases in front of them. One, they've already decided the Kentucky clerk, Kim Davis, refused, as our clerk did, our former clerk did, refused to provide licenses to gay families, which began the Supreme Court case on gay marriage. And the court sided with the LGBTQ community and allowing them to marry, and ordered the clerk, Davis, to reimburse folks that she denied. And it got up to six figures, got into like $300,000. So she wanted to appeal. This was based on Clarence Thomas's desire to re-examine the gay and marriage case and leave it to Clarence Thomas to do that. I'm not a fan of my mother's homeboy. He's from Savannah, Georgia, like my mother. But the reason I find it incredibly hypocritical of Mr. Thomas is because you know what would have been next? Interracial marriage. And if you think I'm joking, there were groups that were going to appeal if, in fact, the gay marriage case was overturned. They were going to go after interracial marriage. And guess who Clarence Thomas is married to? That's right, he's married to a white woman. So it just seems hypocritical to me. But nevertheless, they refuse to even look at the case. Because as I've said, this country, I don't think that homophobic people have changed. I think they've just kind of given up. And it's one of the more confounding issues of our time that I've never been able to understand. I really, really don't. You know, particularly for Christians, because I thought that religion and Christianity was all about love. And I thought that in this world, you don't really, you choose who you want to be in love with, but you don't choose who you love. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you meet somebody and you're taken by them. You're not trying to fall in love with them, but you just do. You just like being around them. You like the way they smell, the way they kiss, the way they make love, the way they handle themselves, their honesty or their lack thereof, however your, proclivities trend. And if it happens to be a man and you're a man, this isn't anything new. Homophobics in the late 20th century pretend like homosexuality is something that's new. And I've always, I used to be a liberal Democrat. Maybe that's what it is. But I always felt bad because I knew at a young age, my mother had a friend. And again, this is from me eavesdropping on my parents, one of my great pastimes. But it was a totally fugazi marriage. It was the gentleman that I've alluded to on this show, and I guess I can talk about it because he passed away of Lou Gehrig's disease. But it was one of my mother's very best friends and her really ugly daughter, because I was cursed when I was a kid. Cursed. Ugly girls absolutely loved Ralph Bailey. I can't explain it. Monica Higgins at the Buckley School and Cheryl Hendricks when I was in 6th grade. She would just, God. And the crazy thing, she was really dark skinned. Now she grew up to be a gorgeous woman. But in 6th grade, she was ugly as a bear. Ugly as a bear.
It's always the ones you don't want.
No kidding. And their marriage, her dad was gay. And I would hear my mother talk about it because Mrs. Hendricks would come to the house and just complain and complain. And I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. I didn't know what. I was in like 5th or 6th grade. We were living in Cerritos. And I didn't understand what, I don't know, they didn't use the word gay. And I don't think they would use the word homosexual. They used some term that I couldn't understand. And I think they did it on purpose. And then finally I went upstairs. I remember I snuck upstairs.
I got into the encyclopedias. Maybe it was homosexual, and I just didn't know what that was. And I looked it up, and I was like, what? And then whenever Mr. Hendricks would come around, he was a former athlete. He was a great athlete. But there were just things that he would do. And I was like, I see it now. Now I was in 6th grade, so I was probably contriving these things. I don't know. But once I knew by watching him, it confirmed. And then he died like a year later. He was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, I believe, ALS, amyolateral sclerosis. Anyway, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and he was dead in a year. Dead in a year, which is I've always said is a bizarre disease. We talked about my good friend Dominique's mother passing away rather quickly from ALS, and yet Lance McCullough, Emily McCullough's dad, has held on for over a decade. He's in a wheelchair and he uses oxygen to help breathe, but he's been struggling with it for over a decade now. Mark wants to tell me about the 4th annual National Lights of Honor. So maybe we'll get him on and talk about that. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got?
Ralph, my sister lives in Pahrump, Nevada. She was telling me that since planes have stopped flying so much, that gas there went up 50 cents a gallon. I guess so many people are going to be driving, so they're trying to get their money's worth. I don't know.
Really? And Pahrump is in a very remote part of Nevada. You know what it's famous for, don't you?
I do not.
The only reason I know how it's pronounced, that's where the infamous or famous chicken ranch is. That's where Lamar Odom had his seizure.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. It's also known for what was the famous radio guy? I can't remember. I'll never come up with it. Somebody will have to text in. He was based out of Pahrump. He was on my station when I worked for Buckley Radio. He was the guy that believed in like UFOs and
Art Bell?
Art Bell, yes. Art Bell's from Pahrump. Do you realize that the government now is conceding that? Have you guys heard about this? I heard about this on Bill Maher's show. The government is now conceding that UFOs exist. They really, there's no question about it now. Because now with all the video, it's hard, on all these aircraft, it's hard to deny it
now.
When you see an object stop and then accelerate at a pace that we're incapable. And you know what the latest thing is that they believe that I learned on Bill Maher? You know where their bases are? They believe they actually believe this.
Like outer space bases here?
No, spaces on Earth.
Pyramids.
The ocean.
Oh, I've heard that before.
Where you realize
the depths we have not seen.
Like 70% of the ocean.
Yeah.
We've never ever viewed.
And it would make a lot of sense too why we haven't explored those areas yet, because maybe there are people who already know that.
Well, I think it's the depths is what it is.
The pressure and whatnot that don't allow you. But
the last time somebody tried that, kaboom.
Who's to say two things don't exist though?
And the fact that they've witnessed Navy fighters have witnessed ships going into the ocean and not making any type of splash.
Huh?
Yes. That's what this guy. I should have.
Terrifies me.
I'm gonna go back tonight. Maybe we can even steal some of that audio. But he had a very famous guy who I had no clue was, who's written a very serious book that basically says this guy says that there are witnesses that have seen the bodies at Roswell. That the bodies at Roswell exist along with the so-called aircraft that they recovered. They're confirming that this is a real thing.
God, this concerns me. Could you imagine?
I think it's a great thing because I think it's the line Sollozzo says to Robert Duvall in The Godfather when he kidnaps him for a couple of hours and sends him back to Sonny with the message. Robert Duvall is coming out of a department store, and Sollozzo comes, hey, Tom Hagen, good to see you. He goes, well, I don't have time. I've got to get going. Make time, consigliere. Get in the car. And Hagen's all nervous, and he goes, what are you worried about? If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead by now. And he gets in the car. That's how I feel about the UFOs.
True.
If they wanted to whack us, they could blow this whole freaking planet up. They'd have killed us by now. I think that superior minds like that get a kick out of what it's like us examining insects and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think they get a kick out of it. And I think, call me crazy comparing fiction to real life, but I think there could be a day. Have you ever seen The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Yes.
The original or the newest one?
The newest one.
Oh, Lord, that doesn't count. But the point of the original, I think I've seen the one with Keanu Reeves, but the point of the original one is this man with a robot comes down to the world and says, basically, you all are on the verge of blowing this freaking thing up with all these nuclear weapons, and it's going to screw up our whole universe, and we're not having it. So knock it off and don't make us come back. I think if we ever got close to nuclear war, that these UFOs would intercede in that manner.
It's possible.
I really do.
See, I subscribe more to the theory of like enemy my enemy kind of a thing. Like if they ever came up and tried to talk to us, humanity would freak out and all band together just solely to get rid of the alien force.
It's funny. That's what the guy on Bill Maher said. He says he believes that if we could confirm to the world that there's somebody other than us,
right,
that it would bring the world together.
Yeah,
that we would realize
create a
we're not we ain't that much.
Yeah.
And we need to get along because who knows?
It's a very humbling experience when you really think about it.
It is a humbling experience. We're not that much. And I always believed that as a kid. I just always thought of all the universes, and I'm sure you've always heard this, but of all the universes and all the galaxies, you're telling me we're the only life? That just can't be. And then doesn't it delve into religion then and God and
a little bit?
And what is, I don't know. It's crazy to think about. It really is way too much for my head. Final break of the night. Tomorrow's a Tuesday. Our former federal magistrate judge, one of our favorite guests, Teresa Golder, will join us, along with Congressman Vince Fogg at 4 o'clock. Let me make sure of that. Please stand by. Because you know how I am with times and dates and et cetera, et cetera. Let me just confirm. Where are you, Allie? There you are. 4 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time. In the meantime, keep it locked. What's he talking about?
He's just saying hi.
Oh. The Charlie Kirk Show coming up at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
What up, boy?
KERN.
Tuesday's Armstrong and Getty Show. We have another sports-fixing betting scandal, this time Major League Baseball. Where's it going to stop? And, of course, breaking news that Kim Kardashian has failed her bar exam, will have full team coverage.
And how would you like to make $800,000 a year for doing nothing? Well, you'd have to start by being a relative of the founders of Black Lives Matter. That and the news of the day on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
King Door Company continues to set the standard in the garage door industry, and I'm here to tell you a few of the reasons why. First off, King Door carries Clopay garage panels and LiftMaster openers, so you're guaranteed quality and reliability well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and tools to handle any job quickly and efficiently, and those trucks are manned by the most knowledgeable technicians anywhere. They have all the technical expertise imaginable and the most up-to-the-minute training available. In fact, King Door is so committed to training that they have the King Door Academy, a full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the...
What I got your promo? You're good whenever you're ready.
3, 2. So I can't really pat myself on the back because Cathy predicted this. I predicted this. I think a 10th grade political science student could have predicted that they wanted to stretch out this shutdown until after the Tuesday election, because it's not a coincidence that now that they had their wins in New Jersey and Virginia, now they're ready to open up the government. This is absolutely shameful. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. Well, one of our favorite guests, our former federal magistrate judge, Teresa Golden, joins us, and one of our favorite congressmen, Vince Fong, at 4 o'clock. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
$9.79 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic for 80 to 90% less, 100% online. Don't wait. Text SLIM to 797979 right now for your exclusive offer. Text SLIM to 797979. That's SLIM to 797979.
These statements and products have not been evaluated or approved by the FDA
So
for
my
weight loss.
equilibrium
Are you
problem
ready
is
for a
gone.
night of elegance and entertainment? The
equilibrium
Buena Vista
problem is
Museum of Natural History and Science cordially invites you to this year's Fall Gala. Dining with the Dinosaurs, Saturday, November 15th, starting at 6 p.m. This
I
will
have
be
no
an
idea.
unforgettable
First
evening
freaking
of
hole.
fundraising and celebration. Enjoy
I
hors
reached
d'oeuvres,
down,
dinner, and dessert.
and
Bid
I,
on
like,
exclusive items at
waited,
our
and I was
silent
like,
auction. Enjoy interactive activities like the Time
like,
Traveler's
"What are you
Fossil
doing?"
Find and
was
Secrets
nothing.
Beneath the Sand. Crack a Cretaceous
And I was
egg and take a tour of ancient Egyptian
Weird.
life. Remember, Dining with the Dinosaurs
I
is
still
for
have
adults
to admit
only, so make it a perfect date night
hell?
or gather your friends for a memorable evening out. Secure your reservations now. Go online to buenavistamuseum.org. Your attendance at the Buena Vista Museum Fall Gala will help them continue their mission of science education. Don't miss the Fall Gala fundraiser. Dining with the Dinosaurs, Saturday, November 15th. Reserve your spot today at buenavistamuseum.org.
Gun safes on sale. TNT Liberty Safes Black Friday sale is happening now all month long. TNT has the Centurion 24 that holds up to 24 long guns for $899, or the USA 50 that holds up to 50 long guns for $1,999. TNT also has many scratch and dents and closeouts in stock while supplies last. Go to TNTLibertySafe.com and check out TNT's Black Friday full lineup of American-made gun safes. Or stop by TNT showroom at 6201 Knudsen Drive, 2 doors north of Hodel's. TNT, saving lives one safe at a time.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Go, go! Go, Johnny, go! Go! Go, Johnny, go! Go! Go, Johnny, go! Go! I said, go! Johnny be good. He used to carry his car in a gunny sack by the railroad tracks. Now, why? Eight 842-5376, 842 KERN. I just always think of Chuck when I hear those songs. Very strange man, Chuck Berry. Very strange man. Only accepted cash at all of his gigs. He'd show up about a half an hour in his Lincoln, driving himself. He would ask for the cash or he wasn't going on. He'd put it in a paper bag and then go to his Lincoln and put it in the trunk of his Lincoln. Carried a gun on him at all times. And then he'd play. Not really, they would always have like a makeshift band that would play with him. In fact, Bruce Springsteen tells a great story about how he was playing in a makeshift band, and they heard that Chuck was coming, and that they had to back him up because Chuck didn't have an orchestra or a band or anything. It was just Chuck. And he would show up, and they'd have some guys to back him up. And Springsteen happened to be in one of those bands when he was really, really early. That'd be interesting if it's that scene is in the movie, because that'd be an interesting little scene. Bruce Springsteen, a young Bruce Springsteen interacting with Chuck Berry. But anyway, and he said it was a nightmare. He said, I love meeting Chuck, but he would just basically turn around and say, Johnny, be good. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. And they were just like, what are we doing? And he's like, half the time I didn't know what I was doing or what I was playing, but you just kind of went along with Chuck and you just did what he said and blah, blah, blah. And then he did a documentary with, who is Mick Jagger's right-hand guy? Richard Lewis? No, Richard Lewis. That's a comedian. Richard Roundtree.
Keith Richards?
Keith Richards. I know there's a Richard in there somewhere. And Richards did the documentary where he basically was paying Chuck's orchestra leader, and they kind of got at it because Chuck was trying to tell Keith Richards like what to do. And Keith was trying to be, respectful to his elder, but at the same time, he's saying, dude, I'm not a hack. You know who I am? I'm Keith freaking Richards. It was a really, really good documentary. I wish I could remember what it's called. 842-5376. Let's read a couple text messages. Get the Samuel out of here.
Let's see. I would like to serve on a jury duty, but until the courts are willing to pay comparable wages, I will continue to write a letter of hardship each time.
Yeah, I couldn't. That's why I said I wanted to be on the MATA. There was back and forth on whether I would really even serve if I could on the MATA Bustamante case. Olivia Booker, my neighbor.
Oh?
Hi, you home?
Uh-oh. Hopefully someone's not locked out of their apartment.
That's what I'm saying. Something wrong.
I did that to myself a couple weeks ago.
She locked herself out?
Well, I'm right here on California, too, on the street. So it's like I'm just standing out on the street of California waiting for someone to come pick me up so I can go get a key.
You don't keep a spare?
No, the only spare I have is with my roommate. And, had to go get that from him.
See, I'm a knucklehead. I can't tell you how many times I've locked myself out of my house.
This is the first time for this new place for me. But.
So you remember when I left my keys, trying to be smart, I left my keys in my old mailbox?
Yes.
And the thug, I think, the thug of the girlfriend, the boyfriend of the girl who used to live next door to me, who was a thuggy thug, stole my keys out of the mailbox. He had to have seen me. I was going to a Dodger game with Big Dog. And I don't know why. I just always used to do that when I would travel because it's the mailbox we don't use. We now have the mailbox outside of the complex. And they're old and the cobwebs, and I would just stick them in there. And he stole them. I know he did. Who else could have done it?
True.
And that's when I got the spare, and I've got it in a very secret place. We were out of town. Some random guy rang our doorbell. I saw him on my Ring cam. Was just wondering if he came to your door too. Thanks anyway.
That's odd.
I know. I'll keep a look out.
You can't even say that you're one of these political door knockers too, because the election's over.
Yeah, no kidding. And for somebody to remember, we have a gate.
Yeah, it's a gated community too. Yeah.
So for someone, unless it had to be like Amazon or something like that, that's what I'm guessing.
I would think because they would need the code to get in.
Yeah, exactly. Huh.
That is odd.
I'll keep an eye out. I didn't know they were gone. Want to thank Cathy Abernathy for joining us. And I appreciate Dr. Jeet Singh, who could not be with us. Said he would be, but those are the foibles of having a very, very popular and busy physician. He'll be back with us in a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, tomorrow, she just sent a picture of the guy.
Might need to keep Michael near you.
He's carrying something. So it's probably like an Uber Eats guy that went to the wrong place. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall on the leaders in Washington. A vote is happening in the Senate now on a government shutdown bill.
The deal cut by some Senate Democrats to reopen government has refueled the party's tussle over strategy and identity. 8 senators, 1 an independent, broke with Democrats and are facing blowback. Extending subsidies for health care offered under the Affordable Care Act are not guaranteed under the agreement. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the fight is not over.
Doing nothing is unacceptable, but that's the choice the Republican side made in obeisance to Donald Trump.
The president says he supports the agreement.
We'll be opening up our country very quickly.
He says there is a better idea.
We want a healthcare system where we pay the money to the people instead of the insurance companies. And I tell you, we're going to be working on that very hard.
Ed Donahue, Washington. The head of the BBC and the network's top news executive have resigned after criticism for the network's editing of a 2021 speech by President Trump. Correspondent Naeon Kim reports.
The BBC said Director General Tim Davie and News CEO Deborah Turness had both decided to leave the corporation. Turness was in London to see her legal teams on Monday and took questions from local media. I stepped down over the weekend because the box is me. But I'd like